set for Maokai top or jungle, and the Amumu to pair up with Disguise in the bot lane.
Yeah, for sure. Just a really quick, I did have you know, it wouldn't be a stream on twitch.television if, oopsie, we needed to, we need to unmute the microphone. So hello, my name is
Ooh,
Shinkari.
nice.
I'm joined by TDS. Madison Esports red on the blue side, CSU green is on the red. We're into week 5 of Style Esports of season 13, just to get introductions out of the way there. But yeah, this is a pretty good start to the draft here, as we already kind of have, you know, with the bot lanes locked in here. Braum being picked up for Caitlyn, Amumu being locked in with Kaisa here. What do you think of this bot lane matchup here?
Seeing as what it's set up now, I'm inclined towards the CSU green one because not only do they have the pushing power of the Caitlyn, but also the Braum will be able to negate some of the damage from the Kaisa and then the immediate engaging power from the Amumu as well. So I think that the idea overall is not bad. I think that with this bot lane matchup, they can force the push out and that way maybe allow more for the Sejuani to be as aggressive as possible. It's going to be interesting seeing how effective can the bot lane priority can allow CSU Green to try and control the rest of the map, even see roams from the Braum to try and support the rest of the other lanes, because I think that that's also another strength that you get when your bot lane can just uh, have control and push consistently.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is looking to be a very strong matchup down to the bot lane here, as we have a few more bans coming out. Silas once again being banned away from CSU Green here. Now, this is typically the counter pick that you pick up if the opponent picks up Maokai, right? If your opponent has
Yeah.
Maokai, you're just like, hey, I'm going to take Silas, I'm going to steal your ultimate, and then I'm going to use it against you, right? Maokai's ultimate, very, very powerful and a very good tool, especially against Madison Esports Red, because they've got two insanely powerful ultimates for Silas here. So really good pickup here. Loving the Silence ban, but Wukong is going to be the first lock-in for CSU Green, kind of confirming that the Sejuani is going to be jungle.
Really feels like that. Wukong's still a potential jungler. Hasn't been played quite consistently as he was way before, but I still think that he's a fine enough jungler to be played around with. Now, the Syndra as an answer in the mid lane, not knowing who your mid lane matchup is, I think makes sense. Syndra is a bit more strong than she was previously. She has a lot of power in the later stages of the game, and if you can set up well enough with your team, she can be a massive monster. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Syndra does perform. And as a last pick, I think it should be a jungler, but I could see her being a top lane, maybe something like a Fiora. I was going to say Fiora, it's Darius instead. So, well, they do have. Well, no, they don't have blades both. They do like split pushing, yeah, and 1v1s.
Yeah. I mean, it's still relatively similar, right? I think Darius and Fiora both kind of fill in a slot of like, hey, I want to 1v1 my lane opponent. I want to beat the crap out of them, right? And I want them to stay up in the top lane, right? Darius and Fiora both look for those. I think the difference is that Darius is a lot tankier, going to be more of a juggernaut than just a straight duelist, right? This is going to have a lot more healing and maybe some health
Yep.
built into the kit than Fiora will, who probably will go a lot more damage. But this is looking pretty good here. Darius versus Wukong is the assumption up in the top lane there. And Oriana being locked in for the mid lane seems pretty good for Syndra and the Oriana. I think they're both looking to just kind of tip their hats and just be like, look, you can chill. I think we'll throw some damage at each other a couple times, but we're not looking to actually kill each other.
100% feels like overall the concept in the mid lane is going to be we farm up and then we beat each other up later on in the game, not
Yeah.
right now. Right now we're fine just sharing farm. What I'm more worried about though, looking at the compositions and what Madison Esports Red ends up drafting for themselves, is this Darius. Not necessarily because it's a bad pick, but Darius into teams that have a lot of CC and kiting potential is kind of hard to play because you can just get so easily controlled and then you really don't achieve anything or much at all if possible. So it's going to be interesting seeing how well can the Darius perform and how much value can he find. I also think that one kill on him pretty much just makes him disappear. It'll become a magic trick. You don't know if he's going to be a part of the game or not anymore if he falls behind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be pretty hard for the Darius, like you said. But luckily, I mean, he's got a whole lot of support around his team, honestly. Like, it's going to be hard to get away from a Darius when you're tied up with Maokai ultimate or a Mumu ultimate, right? Like, I think like this
Yeah.
team is really here to take as much advantage out of these big AoE CC ultimates as possible, right? like there's not a whole lot of CC on the team kind of after that, right? It's all on Maokai and Amumu's shoulders here to really be the go buttons, to really be the heavy CC that allows Darius, Kaisa, and Syndra to follow up on here.
It's kind of the main hope, I would say. Like, I don't want to say hope because it feels like there's nothing else that they can play around with, but
Yeah.
the main idea that I can see is, like you're pointing out, trying to play off of this amount of CC that they also have, because it's not bad realistically. Like Maokaimu, when you think about it, it's actually quite a big deal to deal with if you can get on top of these targets like the Caitlyn or the Orianna that are quite squishy. And I also want to see how creative can they get with flanks. Obviously, Darius is not the top laner that tends to run teleport. I think that this game you could run teleport teleport Ghost instead of flashed Ghost, and I think that that in and of itself could still be valuable enough. But I would understand if it's not the teleport. Still, to the point, I think that as long as he can get creative enough with pathing and moving around certain places, he also could find a lot of value to try and get to the Orianna and the Caitlyn.
Yeah, for sure. And now we get kind of a confirmation on where a lot of these champions are going finally. So instead of, I know we initially said Wukong was going into the top lane, but it looks like Sejuani is going to be that top lane matchup there. And Wukong is going into Maokai here, which I kind of like a little bit more. Wukong has better dueling potential early on and could pressure Maokai in these jungle camps, or at his jungle camps, if they look for these early wards and make sure that they know where Wukong is and try to get some early priority in some of these lanes.
That feels like one of the better ways to try and play out this game, especially when you have a Darius you want to try and put it ahead. Same with the Kaisa, when you hit mid game and those two champions can get 1 or 2 kills early on, those are going to be really scary champions to deal with, and something that certainly the side of CSU Green is not going to have a huge amount of fun going against. It also showcases to me the kind of composition that each team is trying to play around with, because as you can see, Darius, Kaisa, even Maokai to a certain degree, much more mid-game type of champions that do still do damage later on, but they are not going to be comparable to something like an Orianna, like a Caitlyn, like a Braum that scales super well. Same with the Sejuani that can become such a sturdy tank later on in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of the time frame that you have to play around with. The fact that you have to play this game before the 25 to 30-minute mark, because after that it just becomes much harder.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talk about all the time that Caitlyn hits a power trough in that mid game there when people kind of catch up to her damage, and her output and her damage output hasn't exactly increased significantly enough that she is going to be able to run that lead ahead. So it's really going to look towards kind of this early game here for this bot lane, whereas like Orianna and Syndra are going to like tip their hats. Sejuani and Darius are going to duke it out. I feel like a lot of attention is going to be put into this bot lane here, because it means that if Caitlyn is able to push her lead early, it means that it sets Kaisa behind. So when that mid game does happen, right, we'll see Caitlyn power troughing at a lot higher of a amount of damage than Kaisa can answer.
Yeah. The true and old power trough that Caitlyn always faces is always fun to see if you're an spectator or on the enemy team, because if it's on your team, you just feel like you have no AD carry at all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is I mean, it's going to be really important. I think both these junglers, like I said, my prediction is that they're both going to be just throwing their attention into the bot lane here. It seems like the best place for them to be going, right? Because Darius and Sejuani are going to be just duking it out up in the top lane, if anything. And you know, I expect that this is a matchup that's good for Darius, because you know Sejuani scales real well off resistances, but resistances do really poorly into true damage. So we'll have to see where this Maokai and Wukong go eventually, but my prediction is that they might be showing their attention into the bot lane.
It just feels like the more logical approach. I could see one gank towards top lane, like throw a bone to the Darius and then focus everything else towards the bot side, because that's kind of the most reliable way to try and win out the game. And I feel like if they can execute on that, it's going to be pretty good for the side of Madison Esports.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 1, CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and here we are on the Rift of game number 1. CSU Green is on the red side. Madison Esports Red is on the blue, and we are ready to get this game underway. We've got ourselves a 5-point start. These two collegiate teams are ready to fight to duke it out. TDS, are you ready?
I am ready, but at the same time, I'm disappointed. I wanted to see level ones. You have an Amumu, you have a Maokai. Just go and fight each other. Blood is what
Yeah.
we want to see.
Not to mention they have a Braum as well, right? Like Braum
Yeah.
is also like one of the really good level 1 characters. So yeah, I think I agree. I think it's a little upsetting to not see any like deep invades for wards. There's no like duking it out trying to get first blood. Like a Braum followed up by a Caitlyn seems really good in order to try to get these right here. But Darlo, they might be in some trouble here. Taking some damage early on, but the Renengon not going to be able to find Orianna this time, so I think they're going to get out without giving up first blood. That's an easy peasy start.
It is still a pretty good start when you consider the fact that the Syndra is taking first strike, so quite a bit of gold already in her favor. Yeah, she's a bit ahead just because of that, so certainly can maybe turn into something much more valuable later on. But the fact of the matter is, like you're pointing out, no first blood just yet, and whoever gets that first blood, really depending as well on who is it going into, can really turn the tides of the game, particularly because there's a lot of carries on the
Yeah.
side of CSU Green, whereas on Madison Esports side, there's not that many. You have the Kaisa, the Syndra, and the Darius, but there's one more on the side of CSU Green in my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree for sure. I mean, this is looking pretty. I mean, it's relatively quiet. If anything, like Sinew is just going to be spending this time just throwing out abilities and making sure that they can get the stacks onto Syndra. Right. This is right after the rework. This is a patch
Yep.
after the rework. Remember, so after 40 stacks, she's going to get two stacks of her Q. She's going to get 2 activations of that. And then after 20, every 20 stacks after that, her abilities are going to get more powerful.
That is such a good reward. I honestly love it so much. As a
Yeah.
Syndra player, it's so good.
Yeah, look at that. Renengon up in the top lane there, taking a whole bunch of damage. Might be able to turn it around.
Ouch.
Sweet Uncle Juice is taking a lot. That passive is fully stacked right now. They both have Doran shields, but man, Sweet Uncle Juice is going to be taking a whole lot of damage here up on that top lane.
You may feel like you can take those sort of traits as a Sejuani, but in reality, any small misstep can turn into something super bad for you. And even though you do have the ignite, the true damage that comes from the blood of the Darius is just so good. Oh,
Yeah, I think this might be first blood here. Sweet Uncle Juice is going to get that heal from oh wait,
ooh,
never mind. Got the heal from Undying. For some reason I keep saying Undying Grasp. That's not right. He
I
gets
feel
the
like a
first
dying
blood,
blast
but it
makes
goes over to
sense.
not Windblade. He gets the heal. And it's going to be able to keep him alive for just a little bit longer here. But first blood goes over to Wukong.
And no teleport on the side of the Darius. Sejuani should still run away just in case, but no first blood, no teleport, and that means that now the Darius is in a tough spot. I feel like, and I'm not sure, so I don't want to make like a to make it like sure he was going to die to the ignite, but it feels like he was bound to die anyway to the ignite. Still, it's
Mm-hmm.
better safe than sorry. You secure the kill and still first blood against the Darius. A pretty big win in my eyes for the side of CSU Green.
Yeah, for sure. And man, this is going to be a little bit awkward for Darius now because look at what Sejuani is coming back to. Back to lane with double Ruby Crystal is insanely good, right? We talked about before that Sejuani might not have a very good matchup into Darius because she scales real well with resistances. Resistances don't do well into true damage. But you want to know it does really well into true damage? Just having a whole lot of HP. So even though they were losing a lot of those trades, they're definitely going to be able to go into Sejuani's favor this time because of just how much HP she has. Look at that. Look at that difference right there.
Exactly. The more you survive, the better it is to go against your damage because you last longer. And that's really
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things that you care about. I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on how much traits we end up seeing from both the Sejuani and the Darius because as we were saying previously, the Sejuani still has teleport. So as long as she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't die, she can come back into the lane effectively, and that can be quite a good measure to try and play it off.
Yeah, Sinew in a whole lot of trouble here. Windblade
Ouch.
looking for an intro here, but can't quite find it. Gonna take a couple turret shots, but not gonna be able to find that kill onto Syndra right there. Gonna spend the flash though, so that means that we should see just a regank in just a little bit.
And I'm really excited to see the regain coming through because as soon as the arena hits level 6, just one close proximity dash from the Wukong should be enough to get the shockwave down, and then it should be an easy kill onto this Syndra. So far, the early pacing of the game from the side of CSU has been really good. We've seen not Windblade going into lanes consistently, not really missing out on gank timings, and also being able to keep himself up with the Maokai. Namely, Maokai is not the quickest jungle clearer, but it's still really good, especially without any attention that the Maokai has given to the lanes.
Yeah, for sure. Is now taking stock of where we're at. We're about 6 minutes into this game, not super far ahead. Only 400 gold separates these two teams, which isn't exactly anything to write home about. But sometimes in these early game scenarios, the difference between an extra long sword sometimes can be the difference between life and death in these first early skirmishes, especially pre-6.
Damage is damage. That's kind of one of my main things in League. Any damage is good damage. So as long as you have more damage, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we just have to wait for the kind of the next big fight here. I think I'm in the top lane here. Renengon isn't exactly too peachy keen about looking to fight Sweet Uncle Juice right now, especially if he has been timing those summoners. Probably knows why do I keep saying Infernate? The Ignite is up on the Sejuani here, so that could be not exactly an ideal trade for him up in the top lane there.
Well, as long as he gets the stacks, though, I feel like he should be able to get a good enough trade to either worry the Sejuani out or maybe force it out of nowhere. Oh,
Yeah, as now we're looking for the engage here. CMOC onto Audio Fizz, flashing away, but that's going to be DM Luda knocking them back into the enemy team. Billy Lizard in some trouble here, taken incredibly low, has to keep walking away. The trap is going to give them some space. Headshot to turn it around, not Windblade coming in front. Might look to come in through the jungle here. DM Looter might fight him out here. Yep, that's going to be the Q right on top of him right there. DM Looter now in some trouble. This is going to be spinning, knock him into the air, but a good Q from Maokai is a reactivation. DM Looter's going to be taken really low here. Billy Lizard looking for a little bit more, but not Windblade is going to be the one picking up the kill here. Ace in the hole. CMOC goes down too. Ecuadorian King, you've got nowhere to go. That's going to be the last kill. 3 kills for nothing down in the bot lane. Amazingly played, amazingly kited. What a good job down in the bot lane.
that was so well timed, so well executed on the side of CSU Green because we saw how it started, right? Like everything was looking like they were not only going to get a pretty good advantage on the side of Madison Esports, but they were also going to be able to push the lane and get a lot of value over on the bot side. But the issue there, Wukong stays, gets level 6. Wait a second though.
Yeah, Renangon is he's getting ignited here. He's gonna be taken real low. Sinew here looking to stop. Yeah, these folks are all real low on these HP bars. Blue team steals it. They're gonna be able to get the 1 kill, but these HP bars are insanely low. Audio Fizz trying to get away, but the Nature's Grasp is coming through. The tears from Seam, she's gonna be the one picking up the kill there, as it's 2 for 1, and they lose the Earth Drake. Oh no.
They did such a good job in the previous play and then throw it all away with this sort of play. It's not like they lost the gold lead. They are still 800, 900 gold ahead, but still, that is such a needed error, especially when you're in such a good spot already with a composition that will scale better as well. But great timing. The timers are not long enough, so they are able to come back into the map. They are able to set themselves up in a pretty good spot. And important from the previous play, Syndra wasn't a part of it, which means that she had full health, she had the ultimate value, she had the positioning advantage to just move into the river and try and contest the dragon, especially because the rest of the members were coming to her help. And at the end, they punished the over-aggressiveness on the side of CSU Green. Makes the game go back to close to even, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, this is now a lot closer than than I think the red team would have liked here. Is now Renengon having some trouble at the top lane, going to be stunned up. Ooh. That's going to be Sinew showing up as well. Bye-bye. All stacks from the Darius passive. Sweet Uncle Juice taken really low. Renengon's going to be the one picking up the kill there, as not Windblade is in the vicinity, but I don't think he's going to be able to find Sinew just yet. That's going to be the intro there. Good burst damage already starting off for Sinew here, but Windblade has already dove on top, pressed that ultimate, but immediately clones away as the rest of the blue team on that top half of the map shows up.
That sort of play works out if you have someone not only ready to answer. Oh,
Ooh, wait a minute. Seems in
man.
some trouble down to the bot lane here. Slowed up. That's going to be the Piltover Peacemaker picking up the kill down in the bot lane there as well. There's just a lot of wins across the map here. I believe it ends up being a 1-for-1 across the map at the end of that trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since Wani goes down, Amumu goes down. Yep.
It's pretty much like you're saying, a 1-for-1 in the overall context of the map, thanks to the trade. But the fact that now the Caitlyn is also going to force herself onto the sword, maybe a dive.
Yeah, Audio Fizz looking to start this off here, but it literally has too little HP here. Ace in the hole comes down for Ecuadorian King, and that's going to be picking up yet another kill down in the bot lane here. This is looking exactly what we were hoping for. You know, Caitlyn using her advantages to make sure that when her power trough hits, she's just going to be a lot more powerful than the blue team can handle.
The power drop is looking quite bleak because I'm not sure if it's going to get to that point. Caitlyn's super strong. I think even in the dive, you could see it that the ace in the hole was just an extra. At that point, really, it wasn't needed. And then they were able... Oh, what a hero that minion. Okay, that is unexpected. Still, they get out alive. Look at that. Look at the Caitlyn inventory. It's a Kraken Slayer completed, and it's going to be painful for this Kaisa in the bot lane.
Yeah, headshots are now going to be a lot more powerful with that Kraken Slayer there. I mean, you're right. Like this is the power trough is starting to look like a power plateau at this point, right? It's going to flatten out, but it's still really high up there. So, you know, it's going to be once these team fights start happening a lot more often and folks are in their level 11 area, then we're going to be seeing a lot of power and a lot of focus need to be put onto this Caitlyn here.
It's going to be something to look into on the side of Madison Esports because, like you're saying, if they are not able to deal with her early on, the stacking damage that she can deal, the headshots, the consistent crits are just so hard, such a pain to deal with. Ooh.
Oh yeah, Darlo throws out the shockwave there, but it doesn't look like for anything more here. But look at Sweet Uncle Juice up in the top lane here. Renengon pulls both him and Windblade in, gonna get the spin, but not gonna be enough healing. Windblade says, "I'll show you how to spin." Wukong picks up the top kill in the top lane.
This is almost always the issue with Darius. It's not necessarily that he doesn't find angles to win lane. It's that if you have enough CC, you can take him down, and they certainly did have enough CC in that lane, the top lane. They forced the kill, they are going to push into the turret, and Darius, even though he gets the Sunder, he's still in a spot that feels so weird because it's not like he's super far behind, but it doesn't feel like he's strong either, in my eyes.
Yeah. This is looking pretty good. I mean, this Darius has been playing this lane as if he's more even than I think he thinks he is. Or I guess so with the one kill, but it's still just like he's been playing so far up this whole time. As now Billy Lizard in some trouble here. Good Braum shield forced it back onto the other side here. The Glacial Fissure is going to come across after the Curse of the Sad Mummy. They might look to turn this around as Ecuadorian King is taking a lot of damage here. Billy Lizard can't quite get close after that sapling slow. So it looks like they might try to give this one up here, but they are still jockeying for a little bit more position here. Sinew might be in some trouble here as he doesn't see the Wukong. The Bonky Kong coming through, going to do a whole bunch of damage onto the Syndra there. And now the blue team is kind of trapped in the middle here. Nowhere to go just quite yet. They're looking to grab this Earth Drake, but okay. Bandage toss onto Braum here. Ecuadorian King diving into it, but they might be in some trouble. Okay, finds this bandage toss onto them, but the headshot comes through, taking them real low here. They might have to back away, but the rest of the red team is coming through. Shelly is popped in the bot lane as well. They have to run out through the lane. I don't think they can escape through the river.
I don't think they can even hope to move into a fight because not only do they have more members, but the Caitlyn is still strong enough that as long as she groups with the team, she can win that fight. So it's just looking really hard on the side of Madison Esports. Like the setup is not necessarily bad, it's just that their champions right now are quite low. Only the Darius feels like it's strong enough, and maybe the Syndra as well.
Yeah, and it's just real tough because the blue team just kind of has to do a full back here, which might just give prio on the Drake over to the red team here. If they can pull it all the way out, they might be able to finish it rather quickly. Now that, especially now that Caitlyn has that Kraken Slayer and they have the whole team here, I think this might be the take.
It's going to be on Maokai to try and seal it out. They do have vision, so they know that it got started, but they're not going to try and contest it. They committed
Yeah.
too much before it even started with the Darius coming down, but that's kind of the price that you have to pay when you're playing Darius, because Darius has no teleport, so he has to
Yeah.
walk down.
Yeah, it's going to be that much just more awkward, right? Like you said, because Darius does not have the teleport here. So now you're trying to go up against a team fighting squad that's just like, hey, we're just gonna if you're not going to pressure our side lanes, if Darius is not going to have enough gold to kind of pressure these side lanes and force people to come in here towards those later edges of the game, and we're going to see some man disadvantages um, from the blue team itself. That's kind of why I don't like taking not taking teleport, because you're basically gambling that your opponent isn't taking teleport either. And then if you're trying to make if your team is trying to team fight and you're not trying to split, okay, never mind. We'll talk about it in a second. Audio Fizz in some trouble here, going to be
Ooh.
stunned up, rooted up as well. Going to use that Glacial Fissure, maybe trying to
Yeah.
get some space. The shield comes out, not enough. Seems is going to be the one picking up the kill there.
Good attempt, good play, not attempt, because it actually ends up working out. They do get the kill onto the Brom, and it also even forces out onto the turret. They may get first blood.
Ooh, yeah, Renengon's in some trouble here. That's going to be the Wukong ultimate coming across here. The Glacial's prison as well. And they're going to be able to pick up a kill once again onto the Darius in the top lane.
Another kill. This may be turning into a turret as well, trying to answer with the turret that fell down on the bot side, which gave a lot of gold to the side of Madison Esports. The issue here is that, and this goes into the same problem that is not running teleport. Oh, wait a second.
Ooh, yeah,
nice
Darlow's
chance.
in some trouble here. Seems does not have that Curse of the Sad Mummy, though. So Darlow, I think, is fine here for the most part, as long as they hug turret or just walk all the way away. They might look to turret dive here. That's going to be the shockwave coming across. It removes their minions. Seems now taking up the turret here. Ace in the hole comes across. DM Looter going to be the one taking up that shot there. Is the rest of the team trying to collapse? Not going to be able to find them here. I don't think they're going to look for a turret dive anytime soon here.
This could turn into a mid lane turret, though. They are bringing the Caitlyn. Oh no, they pushed away from the play. They were bringing the Caitlyn, so I thought they were going to force it, but it doesn't turn into anything much. I like the shockwave. When there's more items, we're going to see more value out of it. But one of the points that I wanted to talk about with this Darius is the issue that I see with the Darius not running teleport, and the fact that we're seeing so many focus plays on that is that because he's now behind, there's not going to be the same amount of side lane pressure that the Darius typically brings. And since he doesn't have teleport, he cannot join the fights that are going to be the main focus. You're allocating gold into the Kai'Sa, perfect. But it feels like most of the times you're going to be facing a 4v5 because Darius is not there. Oh,
Ooh, Darlow gets hit by a stray stun from the Scatter the Weak there, which means that they're going to be followed up by the rest of the team here. But you have to be careful because it's 3v2, but it is going to be more in just a second here. They have to be real careful. They're going to be rooted up. Sweet Uncle Juice is in some trouble, but they have to keep peeling backwards. Renengon still looking for a little bit more here. Seems just shown up into the top lane, so now it's 3v3. Glacial Prison comes across, but it doesn't land onto anyone. Here comes the big spin. Glacial Fissure as well. They're able to find the kill onto Darius, and now Seamch and DM Looter's got nowhere to go. They don't have any damage to follow up either. Double kill for the Wukong now, as now they're looking for it. They're going to be able to find stun, slow, damage. Sweet Uncle Juice finds the kill, as now Billy Lizard in some trouble in the mid lane. Shut down from Sinew as well. They're going to get that kill for themselves as a bit of a consolation prize to go with the turret. 3 for 1 across the map and a turret to boot as well. Blue team still trying to keep themselves in the game.
It's like Sunyu is trying to do that part. So far, he's been the one that has gotten not only the main picks, but make it so that you can play around a strong carry on the side of Madison Esports. Because as we're seeing, they took down the Maokai, the Darius, and the Amumu in a situation that felt like they were in a disadvantage. But where the numbers were equal, they simply didn't stand a chance. Really good play by if I'm not wrong, CNU, just trying to not butch names, if I'm honest. CSU Green, really good play, and it ends up turning into something that was salvageable in the end, because even though they lost the turret, they got the kills back.
Yeah. And I think it ends up being mostly equal there, right? 3 kills is equal to maybe a turret for the whole team, right? And also a kill as well. I think it ends up being relatively even. Even if it is something that's more favorable for the blue team here, they're still in the lead by a decent chunk here. 3.7 is a pretty sizable lead. It's not like the end of the world, but it is a nice cushion for these team fights here.
And now with the dragon coming up as well, it's going to be interesting seeing how the gold being allocated to different members is going to turn out now, because this is the kind of fights that you're hoping your carries can win. Oh, Sino.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sinu's in some trouble here. Glacial Fissure comes across and an exhaust as well. Might have been spent a little too early here as not Windblade gets 3 knockups with the spin here, but he's taken incredibly low, has to flash away, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to keep him still right there as they kite towards the Caitlyn. They've now taken a whole bunch of damage. They're stunned up. Darlo taking a whole bunch of damage as well, but they're going to be able to find the kill onto Darius after he finds 2, but that's 3 members down for the red team as the blue team picks up a whole lot here. Madison Esports Red doing a whole bunch of damage here. This might be the opportunity that they need in order to secure the first Infernal Drake.
what was the reasoning behind that fight? Made absolutely no sense. Out if he's going for Sinu. In isolation, feels like an okay pick to go for, but not only does he miss everything pretty much, but they've overcommit onto the pick, then everyone is pretty much in an awful place. Sweet Uncle Juice teleports into a bad spot, ends up dying, even though it took them way too long. He ends up dying anyway. Same from Not Windblade, uses the ultimate, the clone as well to try and engage, so we don't see the full value off of the 2-time ultimate knockup, and it feels like the setup just was all over the place for for CSU. They could have done that way better, and they could have got so much more value, because even though the Darius ends up getting 1 kill, he got controlled and still died at the end. Could have been a much better fight, but at the end of the day, it's a really good fight for Madison Esports. They get the teamfight victory, they get the dragon, and they are now looking in a much better position than they were previously.
Yeah, for sure. As now this gold is definitely starting to even out a lot more. And, you know, we can talk about maybe the gold value of the Drakes or evening stuff out, but not Windblade. Gonna throw down that challenging spite in the spin as well. Renengon now in some trouble here, taking real low, but I don't think that spin heal is gonna be able to help you out. Now Windblade trying to get away, but DM Looter's gonna get that snare. They're now trying to get away as best they can. They're not gonna be within range of that Siege bandage toss there, so it looks like they're gonna be able to get away a-okay. Renengon is gonna be able to get away from this, but take a look mid. They're already getting a lot. They might be able to get this turret before the TP finishes. That's huge.
Questionable teleport, really. Like, the timing was not going to work out that well. Now, Syndra's is still pushing down the bot side, but they don't have teleport, so they can look for this Baron right now. I think that they do it fast enough, and they also have the trap set up for the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I think this has to be the call, right? They have all 5 members. They just have to be careful because DM Looter has stolen away buffs before.
That is true.
Not Windblade does have the smite available. Ace in the hole coming across, trying to keep him off this as much as they can. Okay, they're able to finish it off there thanks to Caitlyn. Seems gets a huge Curse of the Sad Mummy there, and now Sinew has shown up to the fight, but the blue team has already lost a member as they're going to be knocked into the air by the Glacial Fissure there, stunned up by the Sinjwani to follow up. Renengon's down some trouble as well. Going to be pulling 3 members in, trying to keep them off the Syndra, but they're going to fall. Darius is going to be Darius is going to find the kill on the Braum. The only casualty of this fight is not Windblade. Still looking for a little bit more. Sinew uses that Scatter the Weak in order to give themselves some space, but the rest of the red team is pushing in. As look at that. We didn't even notice this before. Shelly is pushing in the top lane.
They actually let down the Herald that they took way before, and it's able to push really effectively. They also got the Baron. It was the Caitlyn that secures it at the end, and it turns into 2 inhibitors. And a teamfight victory, really well played on the side of CSU. It was looking iffy at one point, not necessarily because they did anything overly wrong, but with the attempt of the Maokai flashing in, it was kind of scary. But at the end, they secure it, they win the fight, and they are 1 step closer to winning the game out.
Yeah, this is huge. They got 2 inhibitors at exactly the same time, and now they still basically have the rest of the Baron buff available. I mean, they can easily push down this bot side here. We can already kind of see the answer from Madison Esports Red here as they're kind of they kind of have folks kind of maneuvering towards this bottom half of the map here. We got Darius and Syndra down here, but this is definitely going to be their next target on the back, especially because in about a minute and a little bit more than a minute and a half, we're going to see the next Infernal Drake spawn, which is probably going to be another team fight.
And could be potentially even the last team fight, depending on how heavily just one team wins it. Because if CSU wins that and they have a wave of super minions pushing in, they have enough members and enough power to be able to take it down, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're seeing the push from the red team here. They do have a cannon in their wave, so this is going to be very, very powerful. But take a look at the rest of the map here. The rest of the team has to respond to these pushes these turrets are just going down way too easily. There's no answer from the blue team here. And really they can't, right? There's no clean answer to these split pushes because take a look where Sejuani is as well, pushing in these top lane waves and just
Ooh,
demanding attention. Is
wait,
holy
wait, wait, wait.
moly that damage. This might be a turnaround here. Billy Lizard's taken really low and they dive onto the backside. These are the blue team picking up kills here as now Windblade finds a return kill for themselves as now Siege has to run for their life here, but now
I think they
re-engages
lose this, yeah.
Ecuadorian King. They've got nowhere to go. This Kaisa just does so much damage. The Glacial Prison comes down and now Sweet Uncle Juice has to find something here to make it
Wait,
equal.
Wukong?
But look at Wukong. Wukong's just like, yeah, keep fighting him. I'm gonna take their Nexus turrets. I think he might be able to get this second Nexus turret too. He just has to really focus. Okay, he's out. He's gonna clone out of there. I don't think they're gonna be able to get it, but man, do you think that's worth it?
Depends on what they are able to achieve with this. They got a couple of shutdowns that are big. They got a teamfight victory. Yes, they lose an inhibitor turret, but I feel like if they just waste time, it could have turned into that as well. If they can get this dragon, it's a bounty that they are able now to get, and it should turn into something much more valuable. So it all depends on what they are able to get in the here, because if not, then it's still nothing to worry about on the side of CSU.
Yeah, as they no, don't worry, no one saw the messed up black scone. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big swing. The good thing is that tower, that Nexus tower is going to heal about 6 HP every second. It's maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, but it's still relative. It's still relevant because it means that damage that Wukong dealt is not exactly permanent, right? As long as they can keep the minions off the last turret here, that should be able to heal up in quite a bit's time, as they can delay the game maybe a little bit more. This gold is evening out, so there's still a window here for Madison Esports Red to turn this around.
Yeah, they can try and go for it. I think that they have shown in the previous fight that if they have a pretty good initiation or a pretty good engaged tool like they do have, they can really make this fight happen. Namely, in the previous fight, they got the best two champions possible in a single spot, and then they just explode them. But if they can try and emulate that can turn into a victory for them. This Syndra is really strong, by the way.
Yeah, this Syndra is insanely powerful right now. Glacial Prison comes out here looking for Sinew, but didn't quite find it here. So that's actually one ultimate down for the red team here. Kind of hurts their, and I'm going to use an Overwatch 2 word here, but ultimate economy. You know, this does mean that Sweet Uncle Juice is not going to be as powerful. Oh, Braum might be caught out here. Okay, not going to go in on that stun just quite yet. But take a look at the top lane here. We got 2 super minions pushing in on the base. It's going to have to be something that's answered by Sinew or Renengon here as they continue the siege onto this bot lane inhibitor turret. Let's take a look at that. That's a double super minion wave. Needs to be answered, but luckily for the blue team, it's going to be a long time before the next wave comes for the bot team. So very, very easy time for them there. I think they're just making their way over to Baron right now.
It's gonna be the next
Baron's
Baron,
running
yep.
in 30 seconds.
That's going to be the objective that I think the side of CSU is not only going to try to obtain, but play with to try and close out the game. Because with the wave clear that has been so effective so far for the side of Madison Esports, they need that big worm to be able to close it out. Oh,
DM Looter might be in trouble here. Force the flash away. Glacial Fissure as well. A whole lot of CC onto the big tree here. Ace in the hole's good, but it's not going to secure the kill. Darlo will, as that's now Curse of the Sad Mummy. Siege is going to be taken low here. Renengon looking for the flank here. Might be able to do something. He's found the back line here, but so much damage onto the Darius there that he's going to go down. Sweet Uncle Juice looking for a little bit more. Does not have that Glacial Prison available. They're just going to start wailing on these inhibitors. Start looking at the Nexus. I mean, this might be GG.
I honestly feel kind of bad for the Darius because he didn't really achieve anything in that attempt. But yeah, I think that they have the tools, they have the damage. The minions may get cleared by the Syndra, especially because it's just a normal cannon wave. I think they have to commit to try and kill the Syndra.
No, they got the Demolish stack. This Nexus is exposed now, but they need to press the go button now. They're getting some respawns from the blue team here. Ecuadorian King looking for Oriana here, but this is the last moment that they need. Sinew, you've got the AoE damage, but it's not good enough. The red team comes out on top. CSU Green is going to be the ones picking up the kill, picking up the game number 1 in this best of 3.
There was an attempt to try and survive long enough, and I think that they did a good job after it was looking kind of bleak. but the bait from the Baron into just demolishing them so heavily was such a good play coming in from the side of CSU. And at the end, it's just a pretty good win that they get. Really controlled overall, I think. They have mistakes here and there, but I like the way that it went in the overall context of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a really well played game for sure. I mean, we saw a lot of really good plays down in that bottom half of the map, and not Windblade on the Wukong was really making some good plays in the top as well.
Yep,
I think it was it's one of those weird times where like, oh, weak side is mid. That's weird.
it's
um,
not typical, but it happens sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, shout. I mean, if I have to say any MVP for Madison Esports Red, I have to shout out Sinew here. And it was a lot of times where like he was able to get like those kind of like cheeky scatter the weeks that he was really able to set up for the rest of the team to engage. Like that last big team fight that Madison Esports Red was able to win was off of Sinew just kind of throwing down a ball, throwing out scatter the week, and then the whole team realizing like, oh, they're dead.
It just kind of happened, right?
Yeah.
It just happened there and it worked out. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in the next pick and ban of game number 2 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and here we are in picks and bans of game number 2 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Now, we've seen a bit of a side swap here. CSU Green is going to be on the blue, Madison Esports Red is going to be on the red side, which is a little convenient for us casters here. Once again, my name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and here we are. Misfortune is going to be the first pick here after the rounds of bans. Sir TDS, what do you think of these picks and bans so far?
It's the same big bands from the previous games, but you change Misfortune with Seraphine and then take the Misfortune. I like that. I like that adaptation. Just saying, you're not going to get that, but this time we are going to get that. But the
Mm-hmm.
logical answer seems to be the Caitlyn. I understand why. Now you need a strong pairing with the Caitlyn to get the maximum value out of this champion. But Misfortune is one of the champions that I really like to see with the Yumi because it's just such an obnoxious combo.
Yeah.
Even if Yumi is probably not at her peak power, I still think that it's a pretty obnoxious combo.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you say you need a good combo for the Caitlyn here, but I feel like it's already on the table, and it's possibly one of the best supports to go against Misfortune, and it's Braum, right? Like
True.
Braum, like the way we saw the bot lane play Braum last game, like this is insane. This is a really good this is a really good bot lane combo. It's really good in the Misfortune. This is a pretty good thing right here.
And they have feels like they're opting into some of the same picks that the other team were going in the previous game because Caitlyn Sejuani, Amumu taking away as well. Now, are we going to be looking at a Darius maybe top lane once again in this pick? Syndra, which was the jungler, by the way? Oh, it's Ornn instead, so no,
Yeah.
nothing like
I
that.
I think I like this. I mean, if you're gonna have
Makes sense.
yeah, I mean, Ornn is so solid and helps out Misfortune as well as it gets later into the game, right? Just handing out those ornaments, really solid. And Ornn doesn't exactly have too many bad matchups, right? Like Ornn is mostly fine with just kind of staying in the top lane and just
Yep.
kind of hanging out, right? And it's funny because that's how his character is as well. But that's enough from the unofficial self-appointed flavor judge of style esports.
It's the unofficial flavor, but if it works, it works.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're getting into the second round of picks and bans here. Akali is going to be the lock in here for CSU Green or yeah, Madison Esports Red, excuse me.
They changed sides,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting because I feel like Braum is like a really good pick here, especially against the Ornn as well. And now you're just giving it over to Blue to ban away.
It seems to be, yeah, it seems to be like now the band can just come through naturally as the Brom.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Pike being hovered, it's still a hover, so I'm not going to comment much of it, but
Okay.
okay, now it is.
There it is.
So I understand the why because I think Caitlyn Pike is one of the stronger combos to burst out certain champions, and you can really get a
Mm,
lot of value moving around. But I'm surprised that the Brom wasn't even touched. Like I think that, like you're pointing out, Brom really feels like such a strong champion to not only pair up this game with the Caitlyn, but just the denying factor of taking away the value
yeah.
from Amumu, from Arn, from Misfortune to be quite high. And so I'm kind of surprised that it's not even considered in the ban list.
Yeah, not to mention that it pairs really well with the Sejuani as well, right? Another melee champion to start stacking up Sejuani's passive, and there it is, right? Braum, easy pickup. It's a strong level 1 as well, right? There's just the stars are aligning for Braum to be locked in here. And I feel like maybe CSU Green was like, yeah, just let him have the Braum, it doesn't matter, right? Like we'll just you know, we'll just deal with it, right?
It has to be that they have a plan, right? Like
Mhm.
I wouldn't give it up if I don't have a plan in mind to make it so that the prom is completely useless. But
Mhm.
the Job and 4 is not necessarily the answer to the prom at all. It is good to try and lock down the Kaylin, and even though Akali has a lot of movements, still your ultimate locks her down in a place where her shroud may not be the most valuable or
Yeah.
interactive. So I think that in that idea, I can see the value of the Jarvan 4.
Yeah.
And as a last pick, I honestly wouldn't even be against the Syndra this game. The only issue is that the Prom still works really well to deny the Syndra, so it can be a little bit risky.
Yeah, CSU Green here basically locking in the comp that Madison Esports Red was playing last game, like mostly, right? Like instead of Maokai, there's Jarvan. Instead of Kaisa, there's Misfortune, right? And instead of Darius, there's Ornn, right? Like, but I feel like this team is a lot better suited for the Misfortune here. Scales fairly well as well, and I think Jarvan should be able to at least. I don't want to say like go 1v1 against Sejuani, because Sejuani is in those Tom Kench tier of characters where they're just
Yeah,
like, yeah, they're a quote
yeah,
tank. Yeah, they're a tank.
exactly. It's just something that I'm not expecting to see at all. Like if we end up seeing a fight in a 1v1 between the Sejuani and the Jarvan 4, not only would I be surprised, but I just want to see who ends up being the miserable soul that has to lose that matchup, because it's not
Mhm.
that consistently that you win it out. I think the Jarvan, I want to see the focus of the Jarvan to try and put ahead any of these lanes, be it the Akali, the bot lane, or the top lane. The focus that the Jarvan is going to put down in the early stages is going to be crucial for
Yeah.
the side of CSU, because if they get ahead early on, like we saw in the previous game, it's not going to be hard for them to be able to snowball it out, because they have the tools to try and make it happen.
Yeah. Not to mention they are on a team that can snowball, right? Especially if you're built
Yeah,
around Misfortune, right? This is a team. Misfortune is a very snowballing champion. Once she gets a lead, it's very hard to shut her down, right? And she has an entire team built around her. Now, we'll probably see Jarvan play more towards this bottom half of the map. Usually when you lock in a horn, that's usually the weak side of your map, right? And so Jarvan is just going to be playing like, hey, let's get Misfortune ahead and let's make sure Syndra doesn't fall too far behind.
that seems like a pretty good formula to victory, if you ask me. It just feels like it's a pretty straightforward way to try and win it out. And I think that based on what we saw in the previous game, I think that CSU is capable of not only performing with that, but also making it work out really effectively. And I'm ready to see how well they can pull it off this game. I think the ball is much more so on the side of Madison Esports. Not saying that they have a bad composition or anything like that, but after how the previous game went, I think that it's more on them to be able to not only shake it off and be able to play it out, but also to utilize the tools that they got, because they did steal a bit of the champions that were quite problematic in the previous game, and they added other champions that should fit their style quite well, even though Akali is different to Sin right away.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we are looking at, as I need to really quickly just make sure that things are going properly on stream real quick. Yeah, should be. Gosh, sure. Things are going because it's always I have to wait for the delay.
Who questions my ability?
Make sure, because we can see on our side whether or not the numbers are working out. I'm working with the score right now just to make sure everything is just kind of set up properly. So I have to turn the lights on in Space Mountain for just a second here, as the score is being a little weird on stream. Just keep talking. I'm gonna try to make sure that this is happening, because it looks like one of our buttons.
Your commands tire
Okay.
me.
Just looking at it, it feels like nothing out of the ordinary in terms of just the picks, everything as we've expected. I really want to focus on the mid lane matchup, because we've seen so much Akali recently. Obviously, Akali in such a hugely strong spot, especially if you're capable of piloting her, utilizing her combos, the Shroud effectively. You really can get so much value. So I'm really excited to see how well can the Syndra play it out, because now with the change to the width of the I forgot the name, the push of power, the E. The increase of width with that ability allows to cover not only much more ground, but abilities like Akali's W is better controlled thanks to that. And I really want to see how Darlow performs with it, and how effective can he be against Sainu, which was the outstanding player from the previous game, like you were mentioning previously. Just want to be sure that nothing is going wrong anymore.
Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about
Okay.
it. Yeah, it's fine. It's weird. The bot is being weird. It doesn't like, apparently it doesn't like the reset score or the swap sides button today. For those that don't know, we have our spectator, our observer and streamer, is a bot. So we just press buttons and tell the bot what to do. And sometimes the bot is great, other times it isn't. But the times that it isn't, we still say thank you, Inti. Thank you, Inti, so much. Bow before Inti, the person who makes all the bots for Style Esports. They put in a lot of work. Everyone, shout outs to Inti. Throw like a IN, throw like
Thank you,
a
Mr.
nice Inti heart in chat.
Thank Mr.
So
Inti.
nice one of these. As yeah, it's just to throw it out there. We're both trying to make sure We're just both trying to make this as yeah, I mean this as we're getting into the picks and bans here, like you said, for the Akali versus Syndra matchup here, just trying to stem the bleeding, I think is what's going to be the big thing for me, with especially with the regards of this Jarvan. Because I feel like Akali is just gonna have just a much better matchup to the Syndra, just because of how mobile she is. You know, it's a ranged versus melee matchup, but I feel like in this particular case, Akali has a lot of good defenses and a lot of mobility to try to at least poke and harass Syndra, even though she has to be in the middle of the minion wave in order to farm.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of the mini game or one of the mini games that you're
Yeah.
playing around in those sort of matchups. It reminds me of the kind of mini game that you almost always play when it was the Oriana on the other side, where Oriana can detect you if you hit it,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to move it consistently. So you have to be ready to put it down and be able to look at the Akali thanks to that.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it is going to be good, interesting to see, because I think the other thing is Syndra doesn't really have any kind of like targeted abilities, right? Like all of her abilities are skill
Ulti.
shots except for her ultimate. So
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
well, I guess her throw, but that doesn't really bother Akali, right? So Syndra should still be able to poke and harass Akali inside the smoke screen. Darlo just has to be just really, really on the ball with no pun intended. With with throwing out the
Yeah,
harass
true.
onto Akali there. But yeah, I think this bot lane is going to go relatively similar. It'll be interesting to see Seamch on the Braum this time, but I think this is a really good bot lane to go up against Billy Lizard and Audio Fizz here. Um, Once again, this is really, really good to counter the misfortune and give Caitlyn just a little bit of extra range in that bot lane as well. But we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and here we are on the Rift. Game number 2 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. CSU Green is on the blue side. Madison Esports Red is on the red, and sporting basically their opponent's team composition from the other side for both teams. We are ready to get game number 2 underway. TDS, are you ready?
It's the best way to say you only won because of your composition, and the other side saying, I can do better than you. Just look at this.
Yeah, it certainly is a challenge to kind of both teams here to just kind of be like, hey, that was a nice team comp you had last game. What if I did yours but better? But yeah, this is going to be the start of the game here. Looks like it's going to be about same or opposite starts for the jungler here. So we're going to see Sejuani kind of pathing down towards the bottom. We're going to see Jarvan pathing up towards the top. And yeah, relatively standard starts.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Surprised that they are walking towards or pathing towards the top side instead of staying towards the bottom, because I feel like that's kind of the play that you want to focus on. They did smite it, so yeah, they're going actually to try and play for the bot side. Interesting.
This is insane. There's no way they're going for this early of a gank.
Go for
okay,
it.
I mean, there he is. Not
Yeah.
Windblade immediately getting on top of Ecuadorian King there, forcing him to run away, taken incredibly low, but that cannonball just at the last moment, sailing all the way to the end of that flash. Billy Lizard picks up first blood.
I'm kind of curious. Did it knock onto the Braum and then the back went onto the Caitlyn? Or because I feel like the range shouldn't be that. Like the range from the Misfortune shouldn't be able to hit that. Feels like that. Or maybe she was close enough.
I think it was hit before the flash. Like it was auto attack then flash. Okay, seems in a whole lot of trouble here. Flashing forward. Oh no! Wait, auto attack a minion. He's got the double passive. Oh, it might be gone by now, but dang, so close.
Yeah, unlucky. Could have been the actual moment of the play, but now without the flash on the Misfortune, could be looking for the Sejuani to come down here. Really like the word, and it's not going to turn into a path of anything. So at the end of the day, though, it's a first blood for the Misfortune, so something that you really like, especially against a Caitlyn lane. And then as long as she doesn't die, you're bound to get so much more value.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good start. Like we said, Misfortune, big snowballing champion. So this is going to be a big lead for the Misfortune here that if she's able to continue, should be able to get over the power that Caitlyn has in this early game here.
Oh,
that's
really wanted to go for
that's
that.
a really long dive.
Really wanted to go for the attack onto Dardo. I respect that. It's all about the acrobatics and looking ninja-ish.
Yeah. Akali is always funny whenever she does really long dives. It's always
when
funny
I don't have to play against her particularly. She's really funny.
Yeah, I never have to play against her because I don't play mid, so don't worry about it.
Oh, true. Yeah, it's
I have to play against her eventually, but there's like a good grace period of about 10 to 15 minutes.
See, that's the thing. You will eventually have to face her, and it's going to be worse because you're facing her after your mid laner fed her. So.
Are you saying you feed the Akali?
No. I mean other mid laners. Not me.
Oh, of course. How could I be so? I apologize for insulting your mid lane.
I mean the normal players.
Of course. Yes, we got a bit of a quiet kind of early game here. Outside of that first blood, you know, we've seen just kind of a lot of folks like just the two of them duking back and forth up in this top lane. Like that's pretty standard here. If anything, Sweet Uncle Juice is still full health and has like plenty of potions and biscuits to go. Like it seems like oh yeah, he backed and then immediately teleported back. So you know that's going to give him a little bit of an advantage against Renengon here, especially with all those refillables for sure.
It's the difficult part about playing against a champion like Ornn, where yes, he did have to teleport back, but just one combo from him can really just mess you up completely. So
yeah.
It doesn't have to do with you. It just has to do with Ornn existing.
Yeah, it's not you. It's him.
It's the best way to try and tell you that, but what is not, it's the Jarvan coming for bot. They do have vision this time around, which I really like, that they are prepared for this play, and even if it's getting clear now, the wave is also pushing into them, so it's not like they're going to be forced to be put in a bad spot.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking for a turret dive here either, right? This Jarvan is still rather low and backed for a pickaxe. No really any defensive items there. So unless they're bursting them down in an instant, which since Misfortune only now is cashing in that first blood gold, is not really going to be very advantageous for them. But, you know, coming back with a Noon Quiver and a Cull, that's
Not
pretty
bad.
good.
It's not a bad back if you ask me, and it also can turn into quite a bit of value when the ultimate timing gets hit by the misfortune, which should be huge. Huge should be soon enough. She's about to hit level 5, if I'm wrong, after this wave, and that is going to be the point where they really matter that much. Oh, mid
So
lane.
many flashes spent in that mid lane in a second there. A lot of fancy feet as well. Darlo flashing away from the Sejuani Q there, dodging a knockup was really, really smart there. But like an Akali dash, a Sejuani dash, and 2 flashes happened in the span of like a second. And so like I got like, whoa.
As long as you don't, if you trade your flash for a flash, I feel like that's a win for the Syndra player because the other members have dashes, but Syndra
Yeah.
has no dash at all. So if you're able to trade equally in that situation, I think that you are doing something good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, we see Sejuani's if they're in the top lane. We saw this last game. Sejuani's just sometimes just don't take flash. You know,
Yep.
so you know this is a scenario where like, oh no, I lost my flash as Sejuani. Whatever will I do? Q, Q,
Oh no, what
Q.
can I do?
Oh no, what am I gonna
Dash
do?
over wall.
Yeah. If only I had the ability to dash over walls. Wouldn't that be a fun thing?
Oh,
Silly
Misfortune doesn't
lizard.
have a flash though.
Yeah, I mean, she does have boots. I mean, that's the other thing. She has boots and also the her W passive as well. Strut gives her a whole lot of movement speed outside of combat here. But now the
I
blue
don't
team
think
is
they can
essentially
fight
just leashed the
this.
dragon here.
Oh,
I can drag over the wall. Looking for the
they
steal.
messed.
Oh, way too soon.
No.
Not gonna be able to have it there. Now Windblade is gonna go down, and DM Looter is gonna be picking up that kill as well.
I'm not sure if that is on the Jarvan. Oh
Ooh,
wait,
wait a minute. Seems here might be in some trouble. The shield is blocking up a whole lot of damage here, but is trying to get away from Audio Fizz. Good jump onto Ecuadorian King there. Going to be able to get away from the damage of Billy Lizard.
so I wanted to say if I wasn't sure if that was on the Sejuani waiting long enough so that the Jarvan ends up using wrongly the smite, or on Jarvan just preemptively smiting. But at the same time, I just feel like the Sejuani didn't even prepare for that. I just think that the Sejuani fumbled, but it fumbled triumphantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, this is once again like DM Looter, even in the early game before, like was able to steal a dragon away from not Windblade before. So I think this might just be just more of the same, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not Windblade, not so great at these early drakes. Who knows? I'm not sure. But you know, we do know that DM Looter is really good at securing these early drakes here. So it's going to be a decent chunk of in their pockets here, but the red team's still behind by a little bit here, 700 gold down at this stage, and not really the end of the world. You know, it's fine. You know, it's just a nice little lead.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of that on the top lane. If you look at the difference in minions between the Gangplank and the Ornn, it's not typical that the Gangplank loses lane against tanks, and that is a lot of value that he's losing out on in the top lane, which is surprising to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. And we haven't really seen a whole lot. Usually, directed camera loves going into the top lane here, and these two have definitely been slinging around spells a whole lot, which would draw our attention up there. But for the most part here, like, you know, it's been, once again, a relatively quiet top lane here, which, you know, I expected just to see a little bit more fighting just because Renengon on the Gangplank, even though the Gangplank needs, like, a couple more items, mostly wants to go pretty ham and force the Ornn out of lane, but I guess he's just, especially with the first strike too, right?
Yeah, you would like to try and cash it out as soon as possible, as much as possible. Jarvan is coming top though, so maybe this is setting up for that.
And drag Cataclysm to boot. Ornhorn comes across, but Renengon has already used that flash in order to get away, so not going to be able to secure that kill just yet.
They also have the Herald, yeah. I was going to point it out. They also have the Herald, so they could even look for a dive if they really want to.
Yeah, I mean, Renengon is sticking around here, but it's already getting the damage onto Shelly. The wave wasn't quite pushed up as much as they can so that they can get in there. So we'll have to watch. Is in the bot lane. That's a flash. Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure as well. DM Looter looking for the kill on the Audio Fizz, but can't quite find it. They do have the ace in the hole available. Doesn't look like they have the vision on the Amumu just quite yet. Can be blocked up by Billy Lizard as well. Not going to be able to find the kill in the bot lane just yet.
It's like they don't have the confidence that they can kill the Amumu in that play. And I like that they are not overly committing for that. Quickly, I want to mention, though, as well, how is Amumu still level 5 when the Braum is level 7? Oh,
yeah, Audio Fizz. Oh, wow. Okay, ace in the hole there. It's going to be picking up that kill there. It's Ecuadorian King stuck underneath the turret. DM Looter trying to get away from not Windblade here, but is stuck between them. Syndra comes in as well. Billy Lizard are going to be picking up the kill there as the rest of the red team had to retreat after the bullet time had killed off the minion wave underneath the turret here. So it's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, which, you know, at this stage is going to be benefiting the blue team, I think, more because it's another kill onto Misfortune.
It's another kill onto the MF, but also I think the value of it being the jungler for the support is also something to keep in mind. The Sejuani is still now behind in pace thanks to that death. The Jarvan can try and look aggressively still on the map, try and get something going forward. And then you know that the Amumu is bound to come back to bot lane and try and get finally that level 6 spike. And that is a point where they can finally be aggressive with the Amumu. Ooh, Sinu.
Yeah. Sinu here not really being able to... Ooh, yeah, Sinu's in some trouble here. Is not Windblade looking for the kill here. A whole bunch of flashes spent, but now not Windblade's got nowhere to go. Stunned up, doesn't have that flag and drag. Sinu comes in with the dash. Gonna be able to pick up the kill onto the Jarvan in the mid lane.
And that's why you ban Braum. Because that play works out 99% of the time that Braum is not in the game. Nice flash. Ooh.
Yeah. Now let's see is now backing away here.
Nothing much accomplished there.
Yeah. Here we go. Sweet Uncle Juice finding Renengon up in the top lane here. Might be able to get a kill for Renengon, actually. Ornhorn coming across
sure
here.
it is, yeah.
Oh, doesn't even let the R1 land. Renengon going to be able to find the kill up in the top lane there.
So it's important to look at the differences in items right now. The Ornn was able to just now collect the Sunfire. The Gangplank had already a full item completed. So I think that if you're going to take those fights, you take them when you're at a spot where you can fight it out. Not necessarily when you're behind in items.
Yeah. I mean, oh my god. This is the... Okay, so this is the crit plank build. Okay, wait, Darlow's in some trouble here. Going to be able to knock away Sinu for just a moment here, but with nowhere else to go. Sinu's just going to tank up a turret shot and just be like, that's perfectly A-okay. The gold evened up 3-0 on the Sakali now. This is now a big threat. I think you already talked about this before.
It's going to be a pretty difficult game going against this Akali. They do have a lot of CC, but like it's just that I don't like to harp on such a thing. But the Braum pick just makes this game so much more difficult than it needs to be.
Ooh,
look at that.
Bullet time coming across there. Able to steal the Drake, though. Not Windblade, looking for a little bit more Cataclysm onto DM Looter here, taking real low. Nice. Billy Lizard's going to be able to find that kill there. They find a kill, steal away the Drake. Not Windblade, coming through for a good smite steal as Sinew hanging around the wings here. Might look onto Sweet Uncle for a little bit of harass, but I don't think he can fight here. Oh, they do want the fight. Let's see if we can get the clap on a Sinew here. Gets the knock up here. Let's see if they can turn around. Good flag and drag. Good bandage toss here as well. Kurtha's a sad mummy to boot. They're looking to dash over the wall here, trying to find a Q. Comes through. Not Windblade. Finds the shutdown onto Akali. Holy moly. That's a nice chunk of gold going into their pockets.
And it was really nicely executed when you look at that. They are able to get the knockup into another knockup from the Jarvan, as well as the hit from the passive of the Ornn. That means that they have enough CC value to be able to not only lock down the Kali that has a lot of ability. Oh, Billy Lizard.
Ooh, yeah, Billy Lizard taking a whole bunch. Going to be stunned up here. Immediate cleanse here. Taking real low. Might be able to turn it around, but Gangplank ultimate comes through. Going to be able to find the shutdown on a Misfortune there. Audio Fizz doesn't have a whole lot of damage here, but these tears are doing enough. Going to pop that. Oh, no. Went golden. Trap underneath. Comes out of the stopwatch. Headshot by Ecuadorian King. Going to be able to find that kill for themselves down in the bot lane. So close, but no cigar.
You have to insta-flash the trap. Try and attempt it so that you are not completely killed at the start of it. But really nice play coming in from the bot lane of Madison Esports. It's a pretty good turnaround game from them, that they are able to take the small victories that they are able to get and also turn them into a good amount of gold. Like if you look at the gold of the gold values, it's pretty equal on both sides. And I think the main difference in gold right now, it's mainly on the jungle, the ones that
Mhm.
are kind of the most apparent ones.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we are getting closer and closer to this mid game here as more folks get to put their second points into their ultimates here. The Dragon Soul has spawned, and we're getting close. We're about 5 minutes away from the, or less than 5 minutes away from the Baron spawning as well. You know, we're starting to get to that point where this team is a lot more equal than it would have liked. Billy Lizard in a whole lot of trouble. Glacial Prison Fissure, the
Bye.
pole works. Sinew picks up a kill onto the Misfortune in the mid lane.
Another kill, another pretty easy kill for the side Madison Esports. They have the push now. They can get another good round of setup. The main objective that they can look forward to is the Herald, but it's Hecon Herald, so it's not necessarily the one that you want to try and get. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the thing that they try and focus on. I don't know why Jarvan is starting it.
Yeah, I think this might be a bad idea. They just saw everyone just start fighting mid. Like, you know, the whole team is at least nearby. It's a bit of a greedy startup here. Maybe they weren't looking for it
At
exactly
least wait
here,
for the
but
map, right?
yeah.
That at least is a better way to work to for it to work out.
Mhm.
They do have teleport on the Akali, so if the fight does turn out, they have the Akali to try and play it out. Ooh.
Yeah, not Windblade here, getting stunned up and having to flash or flag and drag out of there. They might look for a re-engage. There's going to be a bandage toss onto DM Looter, but I don't think Audio Fizz exactly wanted that. Okay, goes in for round two. Going to throw out that Curse of the Sad Mummy. Not a whole lot of follow-up there. Flag and drag coming down, but still no one on the red team has fallen just quite yet. The bullet time was used as well, but the damage is still not good enough, as now the blue team, after losing 2 members in that fight, have to peel away, and everyone is just above half HP.
They had so much random damage, and at the end they pay the price for that. Jarvan doesn't even survive long enough to allow for the misfortune. I think that the idea is not necessarily bad, but when your Mumu goes in and immediately dies and doesn't even get a priority target like the Caitlyn, because realistically Gangplank with the oranges is not a priority target, and then you see that the misfortune really doesn't achieve much damage. This Darlo has to flash to try and get the damage from the Syndra as well. It's just not going to work out. Ouch.
Yeah, Uncle Juice in some trouble here. On to Sinew, looks for the head but can't quite find it. And now they have to run for their life because Darlo is down here as well. Jumps over the wall as to boot. They're still on the hunt. Sweet Uncle Juice, I think, has vision of them moving up into the top side, moving up towards mid lane there, but I think they're giving up on it now. 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, Jesus. 30 seconds until the Earth Drake spawns. Could you imagine?
It would be
Oh my God.
nobody would fight pretty much.
Yeah, no one would fight ever. Jesus. What is this? What is this? A time lost proto Drake? That's a World of Warcraft joke for all you World of Warcraft players out there. Probably none. But you know.
I've never played it.
Don't worry about it. There's an enemy that spawns that drops them out. It takes a
Is
long
that
time to
dragon?
respawn. Very long
Oh.
time to respawn. Now, I have the Rift Herald in the mid lane here. A pretty standard play when you want to look for the Drake here. Flag and drag onto Sejuani here. Might be able to find an intro that they're looking for. DM Looter taken pretty low. The charge from Shelly comes out. The rest of the blue team still jockeying for position here, looking for something. They can't quite go in. They have no vision outside of the Scuttle Crab here in the river.
It feels really risky if they actually commit to this. Like you're pointing out, no vision, so it's bound to be a steal. And now the Syndra maybe just falls down.
Yeah, he's going to be
Should
able
get
to find
free
a cheeky scatter of the week here, but let's see if not Windblade can get over the wall. They're already devoting ultimates to making sure that they stay on that side. You are over there now. You stay. They're going to be able to pick up the third Drake of the game, the second Drake for the red team here.
Ideally, you would look to have at least 1 or 2 ping words to get this sort of information, but since there was none, I think that it was just trying to play it blindly.
Horn coming across here, going to get blocked up by the Braum shield here. Gangplank ultimate being used as well, going to stop the push. This blue team once again trying to look for some sort of advantage here, but keep getting stuffed.
GP ultimate was used, so if they do try and force an engage now, they can't because Jarvan is seen. But if they did force it out, they didn't have any way for the Gangplank to join that unless he teleports in, which I don't think would have been a smart idea. But at the end, they do protect the turret, so it's not bad for the set of Madison Esports. The Gangplank also completes second item, so he is going to be a terror for both this Syndra and this Misfortune. Even for the Jarvan and the Amumu.
Yeah, I think the big problem here is that that mid lane is the only kind of easy to grab objective at this stage for the blue team right now, right? All of their outer turrets are still up, but that gives the red team kind of like a center to kind of uh what's the congregate at and defend, right? Like they know where
Yeah.
the enemy team is going to be looking. They can start warding up around this area and just keep this place warded because it's going to be a lot harder to push onto either this top side or the bot side, especially if they're tier 2s.
It's the tough spot to it's a tough spot you put yourself into when the control of the game is no longer on your side. Like the things that you can go for are less. The things that you can try and play for are obviously less as well. So you have to take your battles smartly, and not only that, you have to play your battles with as much members as possible. Because if you're ever in a numbers advantage situation, you lose. Even if
Yeah.
you're in an even numbers situation, if it's not the numbers that have the items or the strongest points right now, you may end up losing that as well. So you have to be extra careful if you're on CSU sites because it's really risky to try and take certain things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's also just not easy to just take some of these team fights too, right? As long as Braum is there and in these participating, then Billy Lizard just really doesn't have a clean way to initiate these fights. They're going to
Oh,
use
bye-bye.
that demolish stack to try to get at him, but they've already taken so much burst damage already. 2 members from the blue team are falling now. They didn't even grab the turret, and now they're losing more. 2 members of the blue team down. Darlow going to be
I
chilling
think
Smite
this
as
is
he
game.
flashed away, scattered the weak, but look at the top lane as well. Akali shoving in that wave. It has to be answered, but these health bars are way too low.
This was a 4v5, and they lost that. Under turret, they couldn't even sniff to try and take down that turret. They were just in such a bad spot, in such a bad situation. And not only do they lost the turret, the team fight, but they are bound to lose this Baron as well. It's on a miracle still from not win play. They do have teleport on the Ornn to try and respond to this, but Misfortune is not going to be close by. And I don't think they are going to contest the Baron at all. It's not
it's
looking
way
good.
too low now. Yeah, it's not exactly ideal as Madison Esports Red picks up the gold lead finally and puts a Baron under their belt as well. They can now shove in a lot of these outer turrets, or the final outer turret in this bot lane, and maybe even some of these inner turrets that they're still up for the blue team here. As now the blue team needs to kind of just
Hey, they get the mid lane
gather
turret.
themselves and try to turn this game around because this is quickly spiraling out of control, and when snowballing champions are behind, you really feel it.
This feels so hard for them to play it out, and once again, I think that it falls so heavily onto this Braum pick. Like, the denying value that this Braum brings to the team is just so uncontrollable. Like Misfortune
Yeah.
essentially is half the champion that she could have been. Because now her ultimate is down in comparison to previously. Same with the Ornn. Like that Ornn horn is super valuable. And the Syndra ultimate as well. So you're losing so much value against the shield.
Yeah. Not to mention that R1 from Ornhorn can also be blocked as well. So like,
Yeah.
we have a lot of instances where, Braum is just so useful against the blue team here. And I'm, mostly surprised that it wasn't banned away, right? Like Braum was like kind of the clearest pick to go up against the Misfortune, go up against the Braum. But I think they opted to ban away
And they
Pike
played it
instead.
themselves in the previous game.
Yeah. As now, Audio Fizz and not Windblade looking for a kill bush, but not going to be able to find it as they are spotted out by a ward, and then a DM looter immediately leaves. This next Earth Drake is spawning in about a little less than 5 seconds. Going to be spawning just now. It doesn't look like the blue team really has any way to kind of contest this right now as Misfortune's going top. Syndra's backing. Now Windblade will have to go in for a steal again.
It's on a steal again. It has to be on that. And if you commit here, don't get it, and die, it's game. Like they don't get the kill, the steal, the Jarvan still survives, but it's still not good enough from their side. Like they have to get a pick. They have to miraculously get a pick because if they don't get anything in some place to try and stop out the game or stop the bleeding, then it's just going to become close to impossible.
Yeah, for sure. Is now Sweet Uncle Juice. I think you just got to get out of there, man. I think you just let them have that turret there. They could very easily turn around. Like Sinews does a lot of damage. They're just going to concede that one right there. It's just looking to be real hard to defend against this team right now. Their siege is really good. Their defensive team fights are really good. Like, it's not going going to be easy to stop this Baron push here.
You have to be like, I'm trying to think of the positive outcomes that they can look for to try and win out fights, but it's just so hard to really find some of those because their main way to play out fights is with the on-horde. Or that Momo gets a pretty good engage into at least a multi-man stunt. More than three people, more than three champions at least. And even then, there's no sure way that they can win that fight out.
Yeah, for sure. Is now, we take stock of where we're at. We're nearly 26 minutes into this game here. CSU Green on the blue side here are down nearly 5,000 gold at this stage. They're down 2 Drakes as well. It's not insurmountable. 5,000 gold is certainly something you can come back from, right? It's not the end of the world. It's not where the enemy team needs a comedy of errors in order to come back here. But it is still tough, right? Like Caitlyn is only going to get more powerful from here, right? We've reached this stage where she is going to get more powerful. We've gotten through the trough, we've gotten through the plateau, and now it's upwards from here, right? Now that she can chain those headshots a lot easier, and it's going to be harder for this Misfortune, who once again, snowballing champions. If they're behind, you feel it double.
It's really hard, like you're pointing out. Like Misfortune, I don't even think that it's in a bad enough spot. She has 2 items and has a pickaxe, so she is going to hit, right? Like I think she can contest in damage to this Caitlyn, even though the range discrepancy may play a factor later on as well. But it's just that the way that both of them get their consistent damage off feels much easier on the side of the Misfortune than that of the on the side of the Caitlyn than that of the Misfortune. Like it feels like Misfortune has to take extra steps to be able to deal her damage. Meanwhile, Caitlyn just needs to be Caitlyn and hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it also, I think we already harped on the Braum point already, but it's worth repeating that it's just really hard for Misfortune to find footing in this team fight and really deal significant amounts of damage, especially with Seamch. Just all he needs to do is stand in front of her and press the shield button.
I think we should talk also about the 4-0-1 Gangplank that has now hit 4 items and has an IE completed. It's going to erase a lot of his champions.
Yeah. It's insane the amount of damage that Renangon can do right now, and I feel like the longer that we wait to see any sort of fight, the more powerful that Gangplank is going to become, right? And I feel like Misfortune hasn't really scaled up as hard, and man, it's just not looking too great right now. And you can be like, oh, we killed Caitlyn, and then here comes a bunch of barrels, and then you die.
Yeah, you have to kill Caitlyn, then kill Gangplank, then kill Akali, and then you probably can win the fight.
Yeah, and then you can probably win the fight. As we have a teleport down into the bot lane here, but this might be an overstep, because take a look at where the red team is immediately going. Madison Esports Red immediately onto this Baron here.
They saw the teleport coming down. They saw, I think, 2 members as well going down, and that just meant immediate Baron for the side of Madison Esports. They respond to it accordingly, and they get it really, really well.
Yeah, not sure what the teleport was for, because they didn't even get Akali either. They teleported down, right? And then
it was out of fear.
Like. I guess it was. They teleport down, Akali immediately leaves, and then you're down another person if they look to get the Baron here. So second Baron picked up by the red team here. This might be very, very close to the end of the game here. 6,000 gold difference, and now,
Pretty sure it's going to be Mountain Soul into just trying to finish out the game, because now both Sejuani and Braum are bound to be unkillable.
Yeah, as now the soul point is now available for the red team here. They have a team that can really easily take this Drake, and the blue team, I think you'd want to contest this. Even though you're behind, you can't let them have this Earth Drake. It's gonna mean the end of the game here. Is not Windblade showing up here. Flag and Drag, Glacial Fissure, and Prison. There's going to be R2 coming across, going to get 2 nice knockups here. They're going to be able to find Sinew here. Amumu goes down. Now Windblade trying to get out of this. They've gotten off the Dragon here. And Billy Lizard might be able to do something here. Ecuadorian King taking a whole bunch of damage here. Still not able to find the Caitlyn here, but look at these headshots coming through here. DM Looter now driving onto the backside here. Ace in the hole comes across, but is going to land on the Sweet Uncle Juice. They might actually be able to get the double kill. Flame, but it comes out shut down. Ornn picks up the ace. It's a 3 for 5. The blue team is able able to win, and now they're walking over to the Baron, or the Dragon rather. They're going to deny this Dragon Soul and finally get a big team fight win for themselves.
I have so many questions and so little answers, but straight up, it's CSU that is able to get the teamfight victory in a surprising turn of events. I feel like a lot of that has to come down to not only the plays that they were fighting, but how the fight controlled the Akali, right? Because Akali tried to dive in. She got interrupted, into knocked up, into interrupted once again, and she just dies. I don't think she was able to get the second part of her ultimate down, which means that now Miss Fortune has free healing time. And that fight starts as well with Miss Fortune losing out on her ultimate. Ornn, I'm not sure how he survived for so long, but everything just worked out in the way that CSU needed for them to be able to get the victory. Also importantly, because of the location, Miss Caitlyn wasn't really hitting the backline. She had to flash over the wall to be able to hit the backline. And at that point, you're pretty much putting yourself into such a bad spot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the CC was real good onto the Akali, like you said, and I feel like a couple of those ultimates that were thrown out over the wall, the Glacial Fissure, the Glacial Prison, I don't think they really landed onto anyone. I think Audio Fizz was the one taking the damage there, but I think if you're a Mumu, I think you're fine with that every day of the week, right? Like if you're going to be the one tanking up that CC, those big CC abilities, then, you know, it's going to be beneficial for you and your AD carry there, who Billy Lizard was able to live for a long time there, really only died towards the end there. Because now you might see a little bit of a fight over this tier 2 top lane right now.
Do they really want to fight over this turret? Well, Akali's mid lane, so she would have to teleport with you.
Ooh, yeah, we're going real deep here. I think Windblade might have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew here, as they go down before the team can even respond.
Or wasn't even in a good spot to even force the ulti out. They just locked down on top of the Jarvan and they got the kill pretty easily. Surprised that they felt the need to go that far ahead. And Akali was just mid.
Yeah, it just seems, man, I just have to be, if I was blue team, I'm question mark pinging right now, right? Like, cause like, sure, you can engage, but like no one's near, but no one's close to you. Like Flag and Dragon and Max Rain's Cataclysm, like who do you expect to follow up on that? Like maybe Sweet Uncle Juice with R2 and R1 with Ornhorn, but that's about it.
Maybe they are trying to set it up so that in the next fight they think that that's going to happen again, and they bait them. Like that's the plan. Bait them in the future.
Yeah, who knows? As now we're getting a reset from the red team here. Baron is up in about a minute and a half, and they already have really good vision around the pit and in those entrances and exits as well. So we'll probably see some jockeying for vision on that side of the map. But for the most part here, I think it's going to slow down for the next minute here. If any fights happen, it's going to be over vision.
Especially with the time that we're right now. 33 minutes, death timers are quite long. So you will have a window of opportunity to try and close out the game if the right members are alive.
Yeah. As now, once again, we can have 1 minute on the Baron here. 33 minutes in. This game is starting to look once again favored towards Madison Esports Red on the red side here. You know, we have yet to see these last few team fights how they're going to play out. I mean, if we get the last Dragon fight not Windblade and not that not Windblade from that last team fight, then I think we'll be a-okay. You know, but we need to see for sure.
Did Gangplank use ultimate?
Did Gangplank use ult? I guess he did.
He did, but
I don't know where though.
Misclick. Misclick.
Yeah, I mean,
question mark.
I don't know, but this cooldown looks like it's nothing. I feel like it'll be relatively close by the time these two teams fight. I don't think it'll be up for specifically the spawn of Baron, but I think by the time that these two fight, it should be ready to go. Let me see. What's the cooldown on this? 87.5? Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, if they fight right now, then that's definitely going to be an ultimate down here, but we need to watch. Because Darlo and Sinew need to teleport into this fight here. Here comes Ornhorn. Yep, R1's going to be blocked up, but this does let them go in for bullet time if they're able to find an initiation here. Sweet Uncle Juice no longer has that ultimate available. Take a look at the bot lane here. Syndra and Akali are still trying to stay down to that bot lane here.
Yeah, they lose the window now, or they messed up the window for when they could now use bullet time for the Braum shield. So that means that now they have to try and bait it out again in another way.
Yeah. Now, here we go. The Baron spot started up one more time. Here's the blue team. Now needs to find a way back into this
Oh,
fight
three
here.
man.
Gets the knockup. Huge Curse of the Sad Mummy as well. The Cataclysm is good. These HP bars have been taken
Look, he's
really
dead.
low.
That's it again.
Misfortune is dead though. Sweet Uncle Juice is going to be taken down as well, and they've kited out the tanks as well. They only
That's
lost
it.
Seamch, and now they're teleporting into this bot half of the map. They don't need this Baron anymore. They're just going to split push into these inhibitor turrets. What a team fight win by Madison Esports Red there.
They just had to win the fight. And I think that the idea at the start, it was really good. They get the knockup into the 3-mana Mumu ultimate. Maybe the Jaravan being a little bit too late ends up being the counterproductive part, because if they can just commit so heavily onto the Caitlyn and kill her, they can look for the rest of the members. But at the end, they commit so heavily on the Caitlyn, they don't get the kill, and then the rest of the members just kill the other side of CSU. And it's such an easy teamfight victory at the end after they killed the Misfortune so quickly.
Yeah, now I think they just end the game here as they, yep, it's easy peasy. That's going to be AudioFizz trying to keep them alive in this game, but it's not going to be enough. Game number 2 goes over to Madison Esports Red.
1-1. We're going to game 4. Game 3. And whoever wins ends up winning the game. After the first game, I'm surprised that it went like this, but I just feel like, and I'm going to harp on this again, the Braum was such a fundamental pick to how the game went for the side of Madison. Because without the Braum, they don't get so many deniers onto the ways that the side of CSU wanted to fight the game. The Ornhorn gets denied consistently. The Misfortune Ultimate gets denied consistently. The Braum is the main cause of that, not the other champions.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot of team fights that were really well positioned for CSU green there, but you know, with that bullet time, could have been a lot more useful had that Braum not been there. But we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on in picks and bans of game number 3 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Week 5 of Season 13. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS. And if you're joining us for the first time, you are in game number 3 of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. They're tied up 1-1 in this game, number 3. And now we'll see who comes out victorious this evening. Once again, my name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and we are about to get these bans finished up here and get into our first picks. TDS, are you ready?
I am ready for some changes, but there's none. So, okay, they did allow for the trundle to be open. So now at least we're going to see newer champions, or at least one new champion. But with Misfortune, with Caitlyn banned away, I'm expecting CSU to take Misfortune again. I
Yeah.
just feel it.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like first picking Misfortune here might be a mistake here, right? And
I agree.
I have to say, I really don't like first picking Trundle. I really don't like first picking Trundle. I don't like it. I see Trundle as a counter pick to either champions that are really tanky or champions that don't have any mobility. And so I don't exactly like the Trundle first pick here. So, it's going to be interesting to see. It's answered by the greatest misfortune. What do you think about that?
I like the Graves. Graves is a good champion. He is in a really good spot in the jungle, and I think that he can do quite well against a lot of matchups in the jungle. So I'm really glad that they picked it up. Misfortune, well, she will have value this game as long as she's not against a Braum once again. She should be able to find a lot of windows to be able to play not only with her ultimate but basic attacks as well. The double ups are going to be much more valuable. So I think that it's not necessarily a bad pick, but she has to having taken into account the positioning because the pillar can just mess her up completely. And then
Yeah.
Jinx, interesting decision.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't hate it. Seraphine is going to be the answer here. CSU Green now has the counter pick. I mean, I feel like you just pick up Braum, right? Like, Braum just seems really good. The Seraphine could go mid, so they can be like, oh, they already locked in their support, so we don't have to ban away Braum in second half. But Seraphine could go mid, and we could see a Jinx Braum in the bot lane. So I think either just banning it away here or locking it in. They're going to lock in the Rel here, which is it's a comfort pick for Audio Fizz for sure. But once again, you just got to be safe and ban away the Braum here, I think.
I honestly was feeling more the Braum for this round as well. Like Misfortune with Braum is not a bad pairing. You deny the Seraphine, which is quite big, and also with the Graves, I think that they are not, a good duo to move around the map. Like you get a lot of value thanks to how close you need to be as a Graves. You can even consider him a melee to a certain degree, and it can play off with the Braum quite nicely. So surprised they are not going to ban it, but at the end, I think that it was more beneficial for them to pick it up than to just let it be banned away or be picked by someone else. The Rel is going to be, it's like a Moo, but but lesser in my eyes. Like, I think I don't like Rel. I'd rather you play Moo again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure how to feel about Rel either, but I think this is my personal opinion, and that's comfort is king. And I think you've heard me say that phrase a whole lot. Sometimes, like, if you have played over 100 games on a champion, you're really well practiced on a particular one, you're probably going to do better on that champion than you would like any sort of meta champion. Now, granted, a Mumu really easy to execute here. There's nothing super crazy about that one, but if you're more comfortable on another champion, you're probably just going to do better on that one, as Ornn is going to be locked in for CSU Green here.
And with this, this just opens up once again, like we were pointing out, for the Braum to be picked up. The Seraphine can be flexed to mid lane, can be played there. There's no issue at all. You can pick the Braum here, and the Jinx Braum pairing is not bad either. I don't think it's the most ideal pairing with the Jinx in any way, but it's still something that you can play off with. Mordekaiser, typical counter to the Urn. I think one of the more commonly seen, not necessarily good or bad in my eyes. I think that it's okay because it can do quite a bit of good amount of things. But at the same time, I just think that the value of Ornn anyway is not only related to him existing as a champion, or him being present, but him existing as a champion in the overall context of the game.
Yeah, no, we got 3 seconds left on the last pick here. Honestly, maybe we're overvaluing the Braum here, but Yasuo is going to be the lock-in here.
Ooh,
Interesting.
Unexpected. at all.
Okay, so it means that the Seraphine is going to be support, and they needed another way to block up the misfortune. And I think this is a good pick here, just as it not as like a synergy with the rest of your with the team, but more so as like a counter to the opponents, right? You can block up Ornn, you can block Misfortune, you can block Graves,
Yeah,
all with the wind wall here. So it might not be super synergistic with your team, right? There's not a whole lot of people to really activate your last breath, but it's still really good as basically being Ornn but mid lane.
pretty much. I think that that is going to work out in that sense. Now, the cooldown, if I'm not wrong, for the wind wall is a little bit longer, and it's never an ability that you want to max out. So when you think about it, it's not something that you're going to consistently see as the Yasuo, but it's still something really fun to see. It's not typically that we get to see a Yasuo being played in general, and even more so in a game that has no real setup for the Yasuo. It's the pillar knockup and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can. I think Mordekaiser
With
E
the hand,
counts as a knockup. I have to check the interaction. I'd have to look it up because I feel like it's not.
I don't think it does.
I
Yeah.
think this is a question for does
Who
this
questions
interaction?
my ability?
Let's see.
Shall I turn in my badge and rifle as well?
I feel like it shouldn't, but even then, like getting the knockup by the Mordekaiser is not something that you can play off of essentially almost ever. So, so it's going to be fun seeing how the Yasuo performs. I would have loved to see the Yasuo in the CSU green composition instead, because I think that with the amount of knockups and CC that there is there, Yasuo could have shined much better. But it's still going to be fun.
Yeah, for sure. As we take a look at the rest of the map here, I mean, mid lane is going to be a lot more fighting than we have seen previously, especially because there have been Syndra picks the past 2 games, but now we have Yasuo and Vex, and Vex is the mid lane anti-mobility champion. What do you think about this matchup of Vex versus Yasuo in the mid lane?
You're scared.
So Windwall still interacts in the same way that you can deny, if I'm not wrong. Maybe I've been blanking on the Bex pick a lot of times, but I'm pretty sure that the ultimate gets denied by the Windwall anyway. But with the W, with the shield, you can deny the Yasuo quite effectively in that regard. And as long as you are able to make it so that his interaction with the tornado is not useful, then Bex can fight so much longer. I think that Bex matchup is not bad in the mid lane, and if you're able to get consistent fear procs, then you're going to mess up this Yasuo super consistently.
Yeah, so confirmation. Mordekaiser's E, the hand, does count as an airborne ability, so you
Nice.
can use Last Breath off. Which
So
is,
it is going to be quite fun if it works.
I feel like that wouldn't work that way, but I don't know. Whatever. Here we are with the game finally locked in here. Vex versus Yasuo. I think the last thing that we want to talk about here is going to be this Jinx, Seraphine versus Rel and Misfortune. Talk to me about this pot lane. What are we looking for here for either team?
The advantage of Madison Esports Red bot lane is the fact that they have range. So with the rockets, with the consistent poke that they have, they can deal enough damage to mess up certain champions. And the CC from the Seraphine is also something not to scoff at. Because if, for example, Realm Misfortune engage and they don't get value out of that, the counter attack, the counter engage from the side of Madison Esports Red is quite good. They get the CC, they have the traps as well, and they have enough damage to be able to not only mess up the rail, but even maybe burn a summoner out if they are if they are positioned well enough. Now, on the side of CSU, this is the typical: you have the engage support at level 2, you hit it, you immediately engage if you're hit it first, and try and blow something off of the squishier bot lane. If you're able to perform that, then the laning phase becomes much easier. But if not, you have to play off the timing that as long as you're able to chunk them out once, you can now allow your jungler to come down to bot lane and they can just take down the victory or the kill down there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing for me is that Seraphine is closer to a mage than she is an enchanter, right? And the reason I bring that up is because her W will be able to heal a lot of the damage that Misfortune and Rel will be able to burst out, especially if they don't get the kill, right? The big thing for me is that Seraphine's W especially an empowered one, is on such a huge cooldown that you can't really use it reliably to kind of like spam, similar to like a Soraka or a Sona, in order to heal through the damage that Misfortune and Rel will be able to do in some of these trades and even in some of this poke damage as well. So we'll have to watch the basically the potion count in the bot lane here for Seraphine
Yep.
and Jinx here. Because, you know, one good engage from Billy Lizard and Audio Fizz, which they've been able to do that a lot pretty consistently in the early game in the first few levels across these few games here, that, you know, Seraphine and Jinx could just be hugging the turret for the rest of the laning phase.
It really feels like that sort of game is what we should expect coming into the bot lane. And whoever can get the better out of that not only gets out in a better spot, but also provides for the jungler. Because Trundle, an early game, more early focused kind of jungler, really wants to have this sort of priority lanes to allow for him to run into the enemy jungler, run into other champions, and try and smack them as much as possible. Meanwhile, Graves wants to also try and achieve the same thing, but he also wants to try and not only farm proactively, but get as ahead as possible of his counterpart and try and achieve more later on in the game. And that's something that you accomplish where you have much more control almost everywhere in the map.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of game number 3, match point for both teams of CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. everyone? Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by TDS, and here we are on the Rift of game number 3. CSU Green versus Madison Esports Red. Madison Esports Red on the blue side, CSU Green on the red. We are ready to get this game number 1 underway. Game number 3, rather. Excuse me. Game number 3. It's match point.
It's the last game. I was expecting very little, and we got very little so far. Although they are invading, so maybe we actually get action.
I don't know
Come
if they're
on,
invading
Seraphine,
so
walk
much as they
over it.
might just be looking for, like,
Yeah,
some
division.
warding, maybe. It's a nice KFC
The
ward
typical
from the blue
thing.
team. Okay, Audio Fizz, we're going in. Looking, Seamch has spotted them out here. Be able to get that empowered root there. Gonna make their way over to the red. They're still going for it. Uh-oh. Well, if they weren't going for it now, they're kind of have to do something now as they're diving in onto Siege, getting them low. The slow field is going to force the flash away. DM Looter is coming in from behind, but really only has that chomp leveled at level 1. Yasuo's coming in from the side as well, but it's going to be just a little too far forward here as Audio Fizz gets back in. DM Looter taking incredibly low here, looking for a little bit more damage. Windblade taking incredibly low. That's going to be Ignite ticking as well. Ecuadorian King going to flash forward, but the Ignite is going to be the one finishing off that kill there. His first blood is picked up by Yasuo in the mid lane.
Yeah, and the biggest difference and the biggest matter here is the Vex. You're like, this is the kind of thing that in solo queue, if it happens, you're spam pinging your mid laner because he didn't move out. And I understand the Vex not moving out if they are not going to fight, but you can't simply just ignore the whole situation and then go back to lane. Still, yeah. I think the attempt at the start is not necessarily a bad thing, but they committed way too heavily. They didn't even use the exhaust off of the misfortune, and I think that they should have tried and use it out. So, like the small things that really could have impacted that fight.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that's big too is that because not Windblade was the one that died there, he now needs to start level 1 with no leash on his buff here. So he's starting the red buff here, having to use that smite relatively early, and he's still pretty healthy after the smite, but you know, that's still another thing to keep our eyes on because Trundle can stay on this bottom half of the map. He can look to defend this dive that Audio Fizz positioning so heavily for Ecuadorian King here, and now he's in pants mode. He's got nowhere to go. He's not as fast as he was if that pants was a horse. And now, okay, we're back on a horse, but he's getting chomped up. DM Looter picks up a kill now.
Can that be considered tilted inting? Because it just feels like such a random way of dying.
Yeah, like I don't want to say that, but it definitely feels like definitely some over aggressive.
We have to find. I would need to find a way better word. I'm all in for this kind of dives because one thing that it certainly shows is that if you get a kill onto the Jinx with no summoners, the wave is dying under turret, she's missing out much more than what you're missing out on. The issue here is that if you're below 50% health, not even that, below 30% health, there's no chance that that works out, almost ever, and it didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dive that needed to be timed a little bit better there, and then like needed to be a little bit better executed as well, because I feel like they went for the abilities in order to dive the Jinx, but none of them landed. And so by the time they tried to turn it around, they were low on HP, Jinx had kited them away, and then now they're trying to escape with less movement speed, no boots, right? And now they have to deal with the Trundle also there as well. Which, you know, granted, they didn't know that Trundle was there, but still.
Yeah, but still, like, it was really telegraphed when you look at it that way, because the whole time Drell was kind of walking forward. So you kind of expect that either she's going to dive there or she's just taking free damage for nothing. And that's not logical in a lot of ways. So that's why at the end it just feels like they were ready to respond to the dive, and it just wasn't bound to work out that effectively at that point.
Yeah.
They still have to push though.
Yeah, luckily for them, luckily for the red team here, this Misfortune has been farming really, really well. And up so much more CS than the Jinx here. And also, like, farming well across the map as well. You know, we're getting some farm advantages from Ornn, from Vex, from Graves, right? And that's what's keeping them in the game right now. You see that they're down 2 kills, but this gold is a lot more even than you'd expect after losing 2 kills like that, especially first blood as well.
And that's kind of the difference from the uh wait, what, the assists. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking of the support for some reason, but that's kind of the main difference with the assists, right? Like you have the much more value thanks to this CS, and because Jinx doesn't get the first blood, she's in a worse spot that she could have been in reality.
Right. So now we've slowed down just a little bit here as we're approaching about 6 minutes in this game here. 500 gold separates these two teams as pulling into the Shadow Realm here. Yami no Gemu. Sweet Uncle Juice calling down the Oran Horn. Going to knock them into the air. Let's see if he's going to be able to flash away from this. But Renengon still coming in for the kill. Not going to be able to get those star chips, but still is able to win the duel. Is now Sinew knocked up, Darlo knocked into the air. Sinew's going to fall through with the last breath here. But Darlo going to flash over the wall. Ignite ticking, but not going to be able to find the kill this time.
Doesn't have the kill, but does burn the flash off of Darlo. And in that situation, we can see the positioning from the wind wall. It denies everything from the Graves, essentially, and it just simply doesn't allow for the jungle 2v2, the mid jungle 2v2 to end up being impactful in that fight. On the top lane, what was kind of expected ends up happening, an ultimate into a kill. It was almost really well played by Sweet Uncle Juice, but it's just enough damage and not enough to be able to take down the Mordekaiser in comparison.
Yeah. And now we're seeing DM Looter show up into this bot lane here. I think this is a good idea, actually, for DM Looter to just kind of defensively be here, because AudioFizz has shown a lot of times that he really likes diving onto this bot lane here. So I think this is a situation where, like, Siemch and Ecuadorian King can kind of just bait out the dive from Rel and then allow Trundle to just kind of, like, counter fight. But I think at this point, there's... You know, with the Trundle backing, he can't just stay in the bot lane forever, so that's fine too.
It's not something that should be feasible. I think that they did pull off something like that in the first game where they waited quite a bit long, and with the Maokai they were at the end able to get a kill. But this time around, forcing the Trundle to stay too long could put him way behind of the Graves. Even with a first blood on his, with a kill on his side, you don't want to fall behind in any way to a Graves.
Mm-hmm. Now, once again, game's still slowing down a bit here. Not exactly a whole lot of jockeying for position around this first Drake or this first Rift Herald just quite yet. But I do expect at least this Trundle to start looking for it as they are on this top half of the map. They do have a little bit of prio, maybe, I don't know.
How much prio could
Ooh, yeah, okay, there's the last breath on the Darlo. One more time, doesn't have that flash, dashes forward, looking for that last bit of damage, but gonna be able to find it with that that one-for-one kind of mutually assured destruction here. Is now not Windblade, looking for DM Looter here. Gonna dodge through the minions here, gonna tank up a little bit of the damage. He dodges underneath the turret, throws out the collateral damage, but not able to secure the kill. So it's a one-for-one, mutually assured, mute destruction in the mid lane there. So we back away, and this gold still in the favor of the blue team here, but nothing to write home about.
It's still, yeah, quite a bit of difference in terms of the kills, but the gold difference, not high enough. Like, it's not as high as you would expect with this sort of kill lead.
Oh, yeah, but now Windblade is in some trouble here. It's not, Sinew does not have that last breath available, but they've already taken a decent chunk of damage here. They're now trying to, there's the crash down coming through. That's Darlo going to be able to pick up the kill on the Sinew here. Might be able to find more. Ecuadorian King looking for AudioFizz, already taking them pretty low. Now the target is not Windblade. They're trying to get Jinx excited here to maybe change some kills together, but they can't quite find it. Siemch is going to be taken real low here. They're taking... Ooh, Super Mega Death Rocket comes through. Going to be able to find the kill there. Seraphine Ultimate coming across as well, but they can't quite find a flash outside the bullet time. Going to find another kill for themselves as well. It's 1 for 2 in the mid lane. So incredibly close. And they're going to be able to back away. I think it's 2 for 2. Yasuo died? Yasuo died, question mark?
Yeah, he died at the start.
Yeah, okay, yeah, 2 for 2.
And it ends up being a massive anchor, because if it doesn't hit on those two targets, Misfortune has the perfect angle to hit a massive ultimate with the fear from the Vex. It really was just by the skin of teeth, but it ends up working out so perfectly for the side of Madison Esports. And now the Jinx gets a kill, gets another assist, but the deficit that was kind of creating itself in the bot lane is no longer as apparent thanks to that kill. It's now just 200 gold, and she's going to scale much better.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we are getting the a little bit this gold lead still, even though they've been able to get these kills and you know, they're still ahead by 3. You know, we're still looking at 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 um at some decent kills here. Is yeah. The gold, even though they're ahead 3 kills, they're not really getting a any sort of significant leads here.
Now what are they going to look for? The dragon takes a little bit longer than in the previous games to be collected. I think that the 2 previous games were much quicker, but are they going to fight this?
Yeah, 11 minutes in, we're going to start up the first Drake here. Once again, still jockeying for position. Renangon has made their way down to the Drake here. He's now, is about half HP. They need to be careful because in the past we have seen the steals come through. So, very easy pickup for the kill for the Ocean Drake here. A little bit of jockeying for position there, but real good job of keeping the red team outside of the pit here. Sinew looking for the last breath here onto Darlow. The Ignite is ticking as well, looking for the damage, but they're going to force the flash away as well as the ultimate comes across, but going to be blocked up by the wind wall there. So they still cannot find the re-intro into Sinew here, but not Windblade is covering around the corner as well, looking for Sinew now, but can't quite find it.
Really surprised with the decision to flash from Darlow. Now he's putting himself back again. Yeah, he's dead,
Yeah,
I think.
oh, well, there it is coming through. Sinew going to be able to find the damage there. Turret shot comes through, but not going to be able to stop the Windblade this time. Sinew is going to be able to find the kill there. Get away. No mutually assured destruction this time.
Surprising that it falls into that. Oh, maybe disengage. Oh. I was expecting more.
Yeah.
I was expecting more.
Audio Fizz was trying to be cheeky, but I've tried this before. The Hex Flash does not have the range to go from bush to bush. And if it does, you have to be like on a very specific part of the bush.
Yeah, you have to know your things.
Yeah.
You have to know your bushes.
Renangon here might be in some trouble here. Is not Windblade coming up from the side here. Gonna pull him into the Shadow Realm, so this Ornhorn is not gonna be able to do a whole lot in the back half here. Already taking a whole bunch of damage. Yami no Gemu looking for those star chips. Gonna be able to find him. He's one step closer to getting to the end of Battle Island. As now he's looking for Uncle Juice underneath the turret. He doesn't even care. He's indestructible, but the minions are gonna be able to find the kill there. You don't tower dive and Ornn, even with those grave stats, gonna be able to pick up a kill 1-for-1 up at the top lane there after a little bit of a greedy dive.
Cheeky outplay by Sweet Uncle Juice, ends up getting the kill. He cannot protect the turret though, because pretty sure that the Trundle will just destroy him. But it's a pretty good trade at the end of the day. Not for the Graves, not for the side of CSU in general, but for the Ornn, because he was kind of in a spot where he didn't necessarily lose the lane, but he still needed to gain something important to really make it worth his time. And getting that shutdown onto the Mordekaiser, which I think was a shutdown, is still good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is real good there. And you know what? I forgot that it was oh man, Duelist Kingdom. Duelist Kingdom is the one with the star chips. I forgot for a second. I said Battle Island. That's not right. Oh no. The Trundle Pillar was keeping Shelly from resetting. That's funny.
That's something I didn't know. Like the interactions with Shelly feel like there's very specific things that will mess you up in a lot of situations.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem like it's going to mess them up this time. They're going to be able to get Shelly and Scoots at the same time. Going to pick up the eye, give it to Trundle. So now, even though the turret plates are down, you're not going to be able to get some gold. The charge is going to do a lot more damage to these outer turrets here, so being able to drop it almost anywhere, still relatively useful for you. As Sinew coming in here, Rel is going to answer. There's going to be the crash down, the fear to answer as well. They dove it out, so this wind wall is not going to do a whole lot. There's going to be the knock up and the last breath here, but the Magnetic Storm is going to pull them back in as DM Looter trying to get away now. There's going to be the Vex ultimate, but I don't think they're going to be able to dive this time, as they're going to be able to find the kill onto Yasuo now. Out Windblade. Be snared up by Seam Shear. Are they going to follow through? Or just a bunch of poke? Yeah, just a bunch of poke.
They tried to go for the heavy play there. It doesn't work out. The Graves. Oh, actually, Graves.
Oh, yeah. He's going to get rooted up here. Really well timed with that zap as well. Once again, that's actually a really good combo because Seraphine she
Yeah.
snares whatever character is already slowed. That's the text on her E. So even though the first her E gets sent out 2 times with an empowered E, she doesn't need an empowered E in order to root people. So that's a
It's
cool little fun fact.
it's kind of the same reasoning with Senna Q or, for
Uh-huh.
example, Misfortune Pull It Rain or Make It Rain
Mhm.
works in the same manner. So
Yeah.
it's the small combos that always seem nice with the Seraphine.
Yeah. Especially what's the other Ash Seraphine was
Ash
like
as
a
well,
big
yeah.
one for a long time, yeah. Cool combos. That's my favorite thing about League of Legends is now Sinew might be in some trouble here. Challenging Smite come down from not Windblade, but I think they just peel away here. I think there's enough time for that Smite to come back up here. But Seamch, and they're still looking to fight, and they are playing as if they are not there.
He really has a lot of confidence on the Graves. Now, I know Graves
Mhm.
is strong, but I wouldn't think that he's that strong. I'm surprised that the Herald wasn't used when they like had a more open window to try and pull it out, especially now that the dragon is up, they are going to lose it. So the Herald hasn't really been used to try and open up any turret. Maybe Tumbling, since he's moving up.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. That's where he's going. I think it might have been just a little weird. Like I would have hoped that like while they were all there in the mid lane, that they would have dropped it mid, used that as an opportunity to go for the dragon. That doesn't seem like that's what they're gonna do there. It looks like they're just going to answer this push top by pushing, excuse me, mid. Since Yasuo's not there, I got the hiccups. Excuse me, everybody. Holy moly.
Doing quite a bit of damage onto the turret. They are not going to get the most value here. Mordekaiser are also trying to do a lot of damage to this turn, but I
Yeah.
find it kind of interesting that they opted into this sort of play where they already kind of have control of the top lane anyway, so they could have taken down the turret without the Herald and then moved to another lane to put it down and give the gold or the local gold to that particular champion. Would engage maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Sinew was like, haha, I got you, and then sees the rel and immediately leaves.
Uno reverse card. It's not you that's trapped, it's me.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just imagine the gif from Gundam that's just like, I'm a genius. Oh no. Like cause like Yasuo, whenever someone dashes through the minions, I can always assume that the Yasuo player is like, yeah, I'm so smart, I'm gonna use my mobility like this. I'm so smart, haha. And then you see the rel there and they're just like, oh no, as now the only person saying oh no might be Darlo here, gonna get the last breath, a whole chunk of damage, but forcing the flash out of the Vex immediately is gonna be pretty good for Sinew in the mid lane.
I think this has to be the most recurring thing so far this game. Sainu just engaging onto Darlo and forcing something out of the Vex. Like it just works out. Oh no, Windblade.
Yeah, not Windblade. Might be in some trouble here. Had to dash over the wall here. Has to wait for that cooldown here. But here comes the Vex ultimate. Actually got blocked up by the wind wall last minute there. So DM Looter finds the kill onto Graves here. But we have 2 teleports coming in for the top lane. They're still looking for more here as Renengon is going to pull Sweet Uncle Juice into the Shadow Realm here. Yami no Gemu coming for the Ornn. Looking for those star chips. Looking for those locator cards. As he's going to get those invisible shield comes through. Doesn't die at the end of the ultimate there. But still goes down to Seamch at the end of the day. So this means that they now have more of an opportunity to push onto this mid lane here, but they have to be careful because this fear from Darlo could be pretty powerful here. Seamch is also looking pretty low as well.
They have the members, they have the numbers, they have the power. Oh, there it is!
Ooh, yeah, there it is. There is the hand plus wind wall or last breath combo that we were talking about there. Going to be able to keep them at least off the turret while it goes down. So that's another outer turret for the blue team here, securing more gold as Ecuadorian King does the same in the bot lane as well. So all outer turrets are down. They're up 5 kills. Now they have a nice 2,000 gold lead in their pockets as well.
There's victories almost everywhere for Madison Esports, and they are taking advantage of the fact that they had to lead. So they are just playing effectively with that. Gaining more value for the Jinx is so big in my eyes because right now Misfortune is certainly in a better spot in terms of CS and gold-wise. I'm pretty sure she's better as well. But the Jinx is slowly but surely scaling. And when you look at how these fights in the last couple of minutes have gone, AD carries haven't really interacted with it. So the fact that Misfortune is ahead hasn't really been an issue for the side of Madison Esports, whereas they are fighting with their Mordekaiser, with the Yasuo, the 2 members that are farther ahead to their counterparts. So certainly they are playing with their gold advantage much better.
Yeah, for sure. As now, Now we're looking at the next. Drake is spawning in about another minute here, and we can already see a lot of really good warding coming down from the red side here, from CSU green. As we're getting closer to that, they have the scuttle as well. So blue team wants it. They're gonna have to do these picks onto that Sinew has been looking for all game. There's the last breath coming down to the Darlo. There's a good wind wall as well. Darlo's got nowhere to go here, trying to kite out the Hurricane there, but Sinew is going to be the one picking up the kill. And now the man advantage in their hands. I think this is going to be the next Drake going over to them if it spawns in the next 40 seconds, which Darlo should be up for, unless Renengon here going to be in some trouble. Not Windblade over the wall here. Going to pop that W shield for themselves and heal up just a little bit. Ornhorn coming across, looking for a re-engage here. Going to knock up the two into the air. That's going to be bullet time coming across. Huge Seraphine ultimate is going to charm up both the tanks and pulling them closer, but they still can't quite find him. There's Renengon trying to get the kill onto Not Windblade, but Not Windblade is going to come out of that Yami no Gameu with those locator cards to get closer to the Battle City tournaments. And now they have to run away because now with this man advantage gone, the blue team doesn't really have a whole lot in their tank. Last breath has come back up, but Sinew needs to find a knock up here ×2. That's going to be the last breath coming through, but Audio Fizz still is so tanky here. Not going to be able to find the kill there. He's healing up a whole lot. Ignite is ticking. Not Windblade diving onto Ecuadorian King, but not going to be able to find his Graves. Finds that tick damage. Going to be able to find that kill there. Is Yasuo not going to be able to fall on the backside here, looking for the last bit of damage on the Orn. Going to be able to find it for themselves. Vex is now the only member left as they respawn into this fight, but it's 3v1. 2 for 4. The team comes out on top. Is Madison Esports red?
I think Darlo can force with the ultimate, but I don't think he has. Well, the wind wall is too scary for him, and I think that it's smarter to just disengage than approach and try anything. But Dragon goes in favor of Madison, and the team fight 4v4 in that situation, because yes, Darlo was alive, but he really wasn't a factor of it. It was looking hard. The engage from the Yasuo ends up turning the tables, and that could have been much better for the Jinx, because Jinx survives at the end but walks into the second part of the queue from Graves and just ends up dying. Really unlucky, but what isn't unlucky is Madison Esports not only winning the fight, but collecting the objective and gaining even more gold value for this Yasuo that is so big at this point.
Yeah. It's now, the next big objective on the map is this Baron, but I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. This is a big opportunity for the blue team here to press their advantage more, because now we're up 1.6 thousand gold is the difference in the lead now from before, right? So 3.6 thousand gold is the difference between these two teams now, it's about 3,000 is the difference between these two teams, and this is starting to be just starting to get a little bit out of control here. Once again, when you have a snowballing champion like the Misfortune, when you're behind, you feel it double now, as Sweet Uncle Juice in some trouble here. Finally was able to get that ornament, but I don't think you've got anywhere to go, as Ecuadorian King is going to run them down. DM Looter is going to become unstoppable, as now Sinew needs to deal with 3 members from the red team here trying to chase him down, but he's Yasuo. He's way too slippery, trying to find another winning way for him to dash through, but finally they're able to collapse on him and take him down. But this is the oldest trick in the book. You got a jungler on the bot side. You're going right for the Baron. You might not be going on to Yasuo, but 4 members with a Baron, still very powerful. Blue team comes out on top, in my opinion.
4 on one side, you get the big worm on the other. And that's the typical play that we see consistently. And it works out, right? You get the Baron buff. Yes, the Yasuo doesn't get it, but Yasuo can be fine by himself. Oh,
yeah.
I think
okay, here we go. Windblade in some trouble. Going to be pulled into the Shadow Realm here. Yami no Gameu looking for the Graves. Trying to dodge around this Mordekaiser as much as possible, but he's not able to find the kill just yet. Super Mega Deathraker comes across, and Ecuadorian King is going to be the one picking up the kill there. Now Darlo has nowhere to go. Renengon flashing forward on top of him. Going to be able to find the kill there, as that's 2 for 0 in the mid lane after what looked like a pick for the red team is now them slowly falling apart, as Sweet Uncle Juice now taking some poke damage here. I don't think it can stand there for much longer. Ecuadorian King to so much damage.
2 items, almost close to that 3rd item mark. I take this as a victory for Yasuo, because I think that the bait in the bot lane ends up turning into this picks in the mid lane as well. Really well played overall by the side of Madison. They are controlling the pace of the game, and with this Baron buff, they are looking to get even more gold. And Yasuo, yes, he may not have the Baron buff down in the bot lane, but he can still push quite effectively.
Yeah, and like at this point, you still need to devote another person to stopping him, right? As now Renangon looking for Sweet Uncle Juice. He's actually been taken really low here.
Oh,
Have to
the
leave.
anchor,
Seraphine
no.
ultimate is so long range. 1-2 kills for the Jinx now. Being outside of that bullet time is going to be huge for them as Billy Lizard taken incredibly low as that last
Flash.
rocket comes down for Ecuadorian King, looking for the damage. Blast cones over the wall, looking for Billy Lizard. The exhaust comes down, but will it save them? Super Mega Death Rocket comes across, but it's the last auto attack that's going to be able to find it. It's a quadra kill for Ecuadorian King. Are they
I
going
don't
to be
think
able
they
to
can
gift
die.
the pentakill? But they can't quite get underneath the turret to get to Darlo, so it's only going to be 4 for the Ecuadorian King. But look at the bot lane as well. Yasuo shoved down that bottom tier 2 turret and then is probably picking up this inhibitor turret as well.
I don't think he's going to commit so heavily just because the Graves just spawned, but looking at the gold values thanks to that huge play with the Jinx getting so much gold, close to 3,000, she's going to go back to the base, get an IE, and that is going to be a scary Jinx. Like, it was already scary with her getting 4 kills like that. Now with this IE, it's going to be much, much scary.
Yeah. This is insane. This is going to be an insane amount of damage, and man, can I say I don't like the Rylai's Crystal Scepter buy for Seraphine? Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say I don't like it? Yeah. Okay.
Makes
I
sense
don't
to
like
me.
it. I don't know. I guess it makes sense, but I feel like there's a lot better items to be getting, and like Mikhail's Crucible could be really good. Like if we're gonna go for support Seraphine here, maybe if we just go full ham on the support items, I don't know. Mikhail's
Honestly, I'd
Crucible seems
rather-
like a good way to make sure that Ecuadorian King can just run through the enemy team and not have to worry about, like, you know, Rel stun or something. Or just a
I'd
stun
honestly
from the enemy
rather
team
they
or a
have
fear.
the, what is it called, the redemption. I think redemption
Yeah.
would have been great. This
Yeah,
game.
that too.
Oh,
Now, Seraphine Ultimate did come across there, but wasn't able to reach the red team just yet. Should be noted, the blue team is now on soul point with that second Infernal Drake that they were able to pick up there, but I doubt this game is going to last that much longer because, man, the red team has nowhere to go here, and the blue team is just so fed. And okay, they're able to get an objective bounty in the top lane here, but Sainu might use this as an opportunity because they're up on the top lane. Super Mega Death Rocket came across, but the Yasuo is still not able to find the kill there. They're going to be able to, might be able to turn this around here. The red team, they're taking incredibly low. Audio Fizz, the damage is ticking, but they can't quite find it. Ecuadorian King's HP looking real low, and Orin is coming back. This is still going to be tied up in terms of members of both teams here. I don't think they can continue this push. Just a little bit too aggressive from the Yasuo there.
They felt stronger than they were in reality. The Yasuo diving a little bit too hard. Like, I understand you have 3 items as well, but you're still a Yasuo. As long as they control you, you can die. And the ultimate engaged by Audio Fizz, I think, really, really good. Gets the value that you really need out of that champion, and it turns into a pretty good kill that they secure. Can they bait with this push?
Yeah, as now with this game is going to slow down just a little bit. I think Renengon right now is just trying to play like, hey, look at me, you totally got me. Uh-oh, would be a shame if I were to be found out and ganked, but actually it's a death rush from the blue team here. Huge charm coming out from Seraphine here. Not going to be able to find that R2, but Graves is able to find the kill onto Trundle, and Vex is able to find the kill on the Mordekaiser, and now the rest of the team has to run for their lives. Yasuo can't teleport into this fight, and these HP bars from the red team are way too healthy for Seamch and Ecuadorian King to take on. They're just going to take it, and no, they can't go for Baron's not up for like another minute.
Now, the Mordekaiser and the Trundle will be up by the time Baron is up, so there's nothing to be scared about if you at least are able to look at the timers on the side of Madison Esports. Still, they think they are trapping the Urn ends up trapping them. It's such a good fight for the side of CSU, and now maybe another pick? Sainu?
Yeah, Sainu's in some trouble here. That's going to be the crash down. That's going to be a wind wall to protect him for just a little bit longer here, trying to just be a nuisance at this point. Good last breath is going to keep him alive for just a little bit longer, maybe, but Sweet Uncle Juice is going to come in through and pick up that kill for themselves.
I'm so glad that this game we are looking at the actual Graves build that I really like. Like, I understand they wait,
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a great snare here. Audio Fizz is taken real low. The Magnet Storm is even better, though. Look at this damage coming out. Ecuadorian King got excited, but he's not going to be able to save them now. Now DM Looter is looking for more. Seems just finally left the fight as Renengon is joining. He's looking for Darlo here as now... Oh, man, Darlo taken incredibly low into the Shadow Realm. Yami no Gemu. That's going to be your soul taken by the Orichalcos as Billy Lizard up in the top lane here. Look at how much healing he's got. Renengon coming through. He's got those Vex stats. He's looking for Billy Lizard. Oh.
I'm disappointed. I wanted to see the Mordekaiser versus Misfortune fight at the end, but it is a pretty long fight. It's from the start, since Yasuo dies into now at the end of it, and it was looking like they were not only picking Sweet Uncle Juice, but they could turn that into Jinx getting resets so that she just, with the excitement, can just run the team fight. But they pick off the Jinx in a really interesting spot. The Encore gets a lot of value, but at the same time, it's not able to keep the Jinx long enough alive. And without the Misfortune also present in that fight, could have been much worse in my eyes for the side of Madison Esports. It's becoming a much closer game than it was looking at in the last minutes. A lot of that has to do with the picks that they gave up, but this is looking like a really nice endgame from both teams. Yeah.
Yeah. As now we're seeing the next thing here. 30 minutes into this game. This gold is starting to look a lot more even here. Is now. Oh no. Well.
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's a 1-2 punch. Let's see if they're able to turn it around here. DM Looter did pop that ultimate onto Sweet Uncle Juice here, which you see is going to have a lot of defensive capabilities. And Renengon has pulled a Windblade into the Shadow Realm here, so he's going to be able to pick up that stats for himself. Seraphine ultimate comes across this 2 big charms, but are they going to be able to find that follow-up damage? Sainu diving onto the backside here, but can't quite find the knock-up in order to turn it around. That's going to be the hand coming through, but now the Magnet Storm is going to be able to turn it around. DM Looter taken incredibly low. Going to be able to find some damage from the backside there, so now... going to be able to find the damage, going to be able to back away.
It's been so consistent now. They've killed the Jinx 3 consecutive times. Jinx was, I think, before this fight, 4-0. Now she's 7-3. Not before this fight. Before the last 5 minutes, she was, I think, 4-0. Now 7-3, died 3 consecutive times. Not really accomplishing much, and she's, at this point, your main damage dealer. The Yasuo, yeah, he's in a good spot. But you're not playing for this Yasuo to carry out the game. You're playing for him to create chaos and maybe find angles so that he can disrupt the Misfortune. But the Jinx is the one that is going to deal the consistent damage. And she's dying way too quickly in these fights.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're seeing a bit of a turn in this game here as man, it's just really tough because I feel like it's mostly like these ornaments, right? Like we're seeing a 2,000 gold lead for the blue team, but they're getting caught out. They're not able to fully deal as much damage as the red team is dishing out here. So, man, it's just really, it's a lot closer than we thought it was, and maybe it's even in the favor of the red team right now, just because those ornaments are worth about 1,000 gold each.
It's quite useful, and the important carries are the ones that have them. Like ignoring Bex, I think Bex is fine, but not an important carry. Misfortune and Graves having their ornaments completed are going to turn everything up. Like those things are going to be able to carry out games, especially Misfortune having an extra item over the Jinx. Well, not anymore, but Misfortune with 4 items was able to deal quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're seeing some prep around the Baron buff. We're seeing some prep around the Baron buff right now. This is going to be something that might just end the game outright. But only if the blue team wins, right? If the blue team wins this fight, they're able to run immediately into the base and end the game, right? So this next fight is really, really important, right? If red team wins, they're able to get a whole lot. I don't think they're able to win the game off of it, but we need to at least... This is still an important fight.
I'm kind of willing... I kind of would be willing to say that they can win the game, because of how late the game is at this point, 35 minutes almost, and also the fact that there's barely any remaining turrets between the Nexus and the champions. Like there's just a tier 2 in mid for the side of Madison, but for the other side it's much bigger. It's much smaller, the distance that they need to close out to just get the Nexus. So I feel like it can happen, but the fight is going to happen though.
Yeah, DM Lunar getting onto the
And
backside
Gord!
here. Huge Seraphine ultimate. Might be able to turn this around. Magnet Storm trying to keep
Oh
themselves
no,
alive right now, but
Madison.
Ecuadorian King on the backside here is doing so much damage. Look at the kills coming through for Yasuo as well. Last breath onto the Ornn. That might be the ace just right here. Billy Lizard goes down. They're going to take the Baron to boot, and now all they need to do is walk into the base. These death timers are nearly a minute long. They're teleporting over into the top side. They have a Baron buff. They might be able to end the game just off of that.
I think they can. They did teleport with the Mordekaiser. I'm not sure why he teleported topside, but they have the Jinx, they have the Yasuo. I think these two champions are enough to be able to push here. 5-man anchor to close out that, to start and essentially close out the team fight. It was massive, and it brings the victory to Madison Esports. I was talking about the Jinx carrying the game, but at the end, it's this misfortune it's this Seraphine that puts on the carry pants, gets a massive ultimate, and also credit to the Yasuo, denies every bit of the bullet time as well.
Yeah, for real. I mean, this was that last fight. It was the most important fight of the whole game right there. Like I said, like if blue team pulls ahead, this is a that's the win. That's them winning right there, right? Like they're
Yeah,
able to just walk into the enemy base.
pretty much, and it kind of happened, right? So
Mhm.
really chaotic game in a sense, because I think that it was looking so good for Madison. They kind of threw themselves off in a couple of moments, and it allowed for CSU to almost bring it back. But at the end of the day, you have a stronger carry champions for later stages, and the Seraphine and the Jinx were just unstoppable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, I think when it came down to that last bit those last fights where the red team was able to come ahead, I think it was mostly just like uh, Madison Esports Red was caught out in a bunch of weird positions. Like Sainu was by himself in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Ecuadorian King was just by himself in the mid lane as well. So it's just some shaky position of just getting caught out in awkward positions there. But this is a really, really good game from both teams for sure here. I mean, even towards the end there, CSU Green still put up a really good fight towards the end there. That game was a lot more even than we thought it was towards the end of
Yeah.
the game. So, shout outs to both teams. Really, really good job.
It really was closer, and it ended up being a 3-game series. So
Hmm.
it ends up being a pretty fun series to cast overall, and a lot of crazy moments in my eyes as well. So both teams played it well. Only one can be the winner, but there's good things to take away from both sides.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to call it for this evening. From myself, the entire live broadcast crew, TDS, my co-caster for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We have League of Legends active for you to watch nearly every single day. And if you're feeling generous, press that subscribe button as well. It helps us out here, and we keep the lights on here at Style Esports. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye bye.